Good afternoon, and welcome to the GameStop third quarter 2022 earnings conference call. Please note that certain statements made during the call constitute forward-looking statements made pursuant to the Safe Harbor provisions of the Private Securities Litigation Reform Act of 1995, as amended. Such forward-looking statements are subject to both known and unknown risks and uncertainties that could cause actual results to differ materially from such statements. These risks and uncertainties are described in the company's earnings press release and its filings with the SEC. The forward-looking statements today are made as of the date of this call, and the company does not undertake any obligation to update the forward-looking statements. I will now turn the call over to GameStop CEO, Matt Furlong.
Good afternoon, everyone. I want to begin by acknowledging the dedication and focus of the teams managing our stores, fulfillment centers, and e-commerce platforms. As the holiday season begins, they are going the extra mile and working exceptionally hard to deliver for our customers. I also want to take the opportunity to acknowledge our stockholders who continue to demonstrate unrivaled enthusiasm and support. As we work to transform the company and do something unprecedented in the retail sector, that sustained passion is a major tailwind for us. Similar to last quarter, I'm going to spend some time at the outset of this call recapping where we've been, where we are now, and where we're looking to go. Throughout 2021 and 2022, we were extremely focused on repairing our decayed foundation, reestablishing a culture of operational intensity, and setting the right long-term priorities. This translated to building a strong balance sheet, modernizing a crumbling infrastructure, and putting together teams that are now able to operate with the nimbleness and efficiency our stockholders and customers expect. Today, we're in the process of aligning corporate costs to our go-forward needs after completing the majority of necessary upgrades to our systems, fulfillment capabilities, and overall foundation. A large portion of our cost cuts will stem from reductions in corporate headcount that have been made during the back half of this calendar year. In some cases, individuals who helped us complete key initiatives have left on their own accord and are not being replaced. In other cases, we've made the decision to eliminate or streamline parts of the organization where we can leverage the work completed over the past 18 months to operate with increased efficiency. We now have a firm understanding of the resources required to pursue opportunities in gaming, as well as high potential growth categories like collectibles and pre-owned businesses. Looking ahead, we have two overarching priorities: achieving profitability in the near term and driving pragmatic growth over the long term. Now that the necessary investments have been made and we have identified the aforementioned opportunity set, we're going to be very judicious with respect to how we allocate capital to the core business. Maintaining a sizable cash position will maximize our optionality and keep us strong against a challenging economic backdrop. If a strategic asset or complementary business becomes available in the right price range, we want to be able to explore those acquisitions. As a result of these steps and our planning, we believe GameStop is well positioned heading into 2023. We stand to benefit from our strong cash position, lack of debt, healthy inventory mix, shrinking cost structure, and disciplined focus on categories where we have competitive positioning. We are also fortunate that the company's exposure to digital assets has been very modest thanks to risk management efforts. The company has proactively minimized exposure to cryptocurrency risk throughout the year and does not currently hold a material balance of any token. Although we continue to believe there is long-term potential for digital assets in the gaming world, we have not and will not risk meaningful stockholder capital in the space. Let me now turn to our financial results for Q3. Net sales were $1.186 billion for the quarter, compared to $1.297 billion in the prior year's third quarter. Approximately $50 million of the decline is attributable to FX. Sales attributable to new and expanded brand relationships remained strong. Likewise, sales in the collectibles category remained strong on a year-to-date basis. SG&A was $387.9 million, or 32.7% of sales, compared to $421.5 million, or 32.5% of sales in last year's third quarter. Notably, SG&A as a percentage of revenue was down on a sequential basis from 34.1% in Q2 of this year. We've also taken additional steps in recent weeks to further reduce SG&A on a go-forward basis now that significant improvements have been made to the core business. We reported a net loss of $94.7 million, or 31 cents per diluted share, compared to a net loss of $105.4 million, or 35 cents in the prior year's third quarter. As with SG&A, we saw a healthy reduction in our net loss on a sequential basis versus Q2 of this year. Turning to the balance sheet, we ended the quarter with cash, cash equivalents, and marketable securities of $1.042 billion. We continue to maintain a strong cash position while sustaining strong in-stock levels for the busy holiday season. With respect to inventory, we have strengthened our position in recent months by divesting a small percentage of merchandise that was acquired late in 2021 and early in 2022. Divestitures occurred in categories seeing soft customer demand over multiple quarters. Inventory was $1.131 billion at the close of Q3, compared to $1.141 billion at the close of the prior year's third quarter. At the close of the reporting period, we had no borrowings under our ABL facility and no debt other than a low-interest, unsecured term loan associated with the French government's response to COVID-19. Capital expenditures for the quarter were $13 million, up $0.5 million from last year's third quarter. We anticipate CapEx will remain at similar or reduced levels now that the company has largely completed its period of heavy investment. In the third quarter, cash flow provided by operations was $177.3 million, compared to an outflow of $293.7 million during the same period last year. In terms of an outlook, we're not providing formal guidance at this time. It is worth reiterating, however, that our goal is to achieve profitability in the near term. I want to finish by reiterating what we've said in the past. We're attempting to accomplish something unprecedented in the retail sector. We're seeking to transform a legacy brick-and-mortar business that was on the brink of bankruptcy into a retailer that meets customers' needs through our stores, e-commerce properties, and emerging sales channels. This path carries risk and is taking time, but it is the path we are on. With that said, GameStop is a stronger business today than at any time in the recent past. I'll leave it there for this quarter. Thank you.
This concludes today's conference. Thank you for your participation. You may now.
All right, guys. I wanted to replay that since I screwed it up this afternoon and started with the second quarter call. We only caught the that concludes today's conference call. Thank you for listening. At any rate, I think the way they wrapped that call up, everything is key in how they wrap that up. That GameStop is on a transformational plan to transform from brick and mortar to brick and mortar and e-commerce and whatever that third thing he said was. And we continue to wait. We continue to wait, if you're holding GameStop like I am, to hear what that transformational plan is. And one day, we hope to get that news. I'm going to go through the financials with you guys very briefly. There's not, I read through everything, the 10Q that was filed. I'll point out a couple things. No gotchas or bad news really on it. But first, I want to address the question that was asked about the tweet I put out yesterday on 8 delisting. So if you are a regular viewer here, welcome. Thanks for coming back. We've been saying, people have been asking for weeks, and I've been saying the same answer. I don't know. I don't know if ape can be delisted or not, but I've been looking, and it's been problematic for me to find the regulation. And I got a little bit upset yesterday because I saw an article that news article, probably Seek and Alpha or Benzinga, Market Watch, one of those guys. Is ape about to be delisted. And, they were making it sound like imminent delisting was coming for Ape. And so I knew at least that I knew where the delisting criteria was. Like, it takes 30 market trading days in a row below $1 to even get a notification of delisting. And that's what I tweeted out yesterday. I wasn't saying Ape could be delisted. I was just saying, even if it could be, it would take 30 trading days in a row. That's till mid-January. Never going above $1. If it goes above $1 one time, the 30-day streak is over. So that article was FUD. I was trying to at least, even though I didn't have all the information, refute that article. And I know a lot of people, I've heard for weeks people saying preferred shares can't be delisted, but I haven't read it with my own eyes. And thankfully, some of you guys responded. I think Baron von Steuben sent me the actual words. I still don't have a link to the regulation, but I could probably Google it now that I have the words. And I do believe now, based on reading what was sent as a response to my tweet yesterday, and I retweeted it today, thanking him for the info. I do believe that preferred shares, I think I can confirm with my own eyes that preferred shares can't be delisted unless the parent company goes bankrupt or gets delisted. And to secondarily back that up, every instance that I found of preferred shares being delisted of other companies was because the parent company went bankrupt. So that all ties together. I feel pretty confident in saying and agreeing with everybody now that I've seen it with my own eyes that a preferred share cannot be delisted. So hopefully, and I already reached out to Boss Blunts and explained that to him. So hopefully we're all good. I hope you guys know where I'm coming from. Those of you who listen every day already knew that I've been saying, I don't know. So here we are. Long day. GameStop closed up in aftermarket, 4%. I think they took the news really good, even with a slight miss. Closed at 23.15. JT Wisco says, why can't they ever show some enthusiasm on the GameStop calls? It is a little bit dry. Our CFO for the AMC calls is the same way. And as far as to answer Corbin's question about Sundial and even like Highcroft, some of these Mullen, if you're on NASDAQ, it's a separate set of rules, right? When you get the delisting notice, you get 180 days to fix it, and you have a chance to appeal and get another 180 days. So many of these companies on the NASDAQ can stay under $1 for a year easily. The New York Stock Exchange, which AMC is on, has higher standards. And once you're under $1 for 30 consecutive trading days, not calendar days, trading days, they'll issue the delisting notice, and you got to respond right away, or they'll delist you in 10 days. So, but we're not at risk of that with Ape. So hopefully everybody feels better. I know other people are writing to the company because they want to feel better. They want to hear it from the company. But based on what I've seen now, finally, I think we're past that. What do I think about Adam Aaron not addressing the fake news? So yeah, let's pull that up, and then we'll get into the GameStop financials. So this is the fake news, and I have spent the last hour. I had to run to the grocery store. I had to make myself something to eat, and then I had about 90 minutes to do the work I was going to do to get ready for tonight. So that's what I've been doing, and I spent an hour trying to chase this down. And this was the article that hit Seeking Alpha. It also hit Benzinga. It's on Twitter from a guy that hasn't tweeted in 90 days, no, like 70 days, but he decided, oh, I tweeted about this in 2020. Let me go ahead and send this out. And I'm going to tell you why I think it's fake news and why Adam Aron should respond. This says AMC Entertainment drops, which it did today, amid report of lenders organizing on liquidity concerns. And yes, there were other trading channels on YouTube talking about this, big channels. And all the news organizations, of course, picked it up. It was on Webull for a while. I read through this, and it immediately sounded very familiar to me. I don't have access to the original article off of Reorg. This is a paid data service for people in the industry. So I don't have access to the information. However, I can tell you for a fact, and some of you might have seen this, it was either yesterday or the day before, this exact article was posted in the Webull chat news, not Webull chat, in the Webull news, almost the exact same headline. It talked about, I read it. It talked about AMC Networks, but it was under AMC Entertainment. It said AMC Networks lenders have formed a group or organized based on liquidity concerns. And I didn't screenshot it. I just like typical FUD. I mean, it clearly says right there in the article that I was reading yesterday or the day before, AMC Networks. And they had it in the AMC news section. And of course, everybody was commenting on the article a day or two ago. This is FUD, wrong company. Now, all of a sudden, they took away the AMC X and they just put AMC. And I can't find the original article anywhere. Sorry, you can't see that. Broke Ape says AMC came out with a statement. Your wife's boyfriend says, I remember seeing that also. So, yeah, normally I try and screenshot that stuff. But I give you my word that when I read this article a day or two ago, it 100% said AMC Networks and AMC X in it. And everybody was calling it out. And now all of a sudden, because this jackass on Twitter decided to retweet it, everybody's with the wrong company name. Now everybody's picking it up as a news item. So this is bullshit as far as I'm concerned. It specifically said that the lenders had formed a group to give them better negotiating power in upcoming expected bankruptcy negotiations. And there's been no talk of that for AMC Entertainment. And if you've been paying attention to AMC Networks, they're on, hair on fire over there. AMC Networks. So I'm going to call this FUD. And someone said AMC responded. Who responded from AMC? I checked about an hour ago for CEO Adam, and I couldn't find it. Makes me upset to see them do that, but it's not the first time that we've seen this type of shit before. And there was an update at the end of the day today, which I don't know if I can click on this or not. AMC Entertainment said in no risk of imminent restructuring. So they kind of half-assed did a retraction after letting it simmer on everybody and drive the stock down all day. AMC Entertainment is under no risk of imminent restructuring or bankruptcy. So I posted in the Discord a day or two ago also. I think it was a CNBC or a Market Watch article, a different one, also talking about problems at AMC Networks, the TV station. And what did they have in the photo? A popcorn bucket. Trying to also subliminally make you think that it was AMC, the theater company. Very common FUD technique, either FUD or just sheer stupidity. And then that other, you guys probably saw the Trading TV or whatever the hell that YouTube channel is that everybody's tweeting out. Even those two, I'm going to be nice, gentlemen, didn't know the different. They were talking about movies and AMC. You know, what movies do you like? Well, what ticker is it? AMC or AMCX? I don't know. Do you know? Like, come on, guys. They were talking about the article, the bankruptcy article, and then they don't even know what the ticker of the movie company is. Just so damn irritating. I don't know who to trust. Basically, I trust nobody in the media except us. Fuck everybody else. So irritating. Manuel, good evening. Doc Zeno, what's up? Tampa Bay, Corbin, James, JT, Broke Ape, Jim Eagle, Juice, Tindy Time, Richard, Dr. McLovin, Boston Strong, Paul, Walt, G-Man, propagating plant parts. I like it. What kind of plants? Vinny Chase, good evening. Vinny says he's got his tequila ready. I got my, I picked this up when I was at the grocery store. Hazy IPA. Got a little shot of Jack Daniels ready to go too when the hazy runs out. Doc Zeno says 1,000 more long days and this will all be over. Oh, man. Sorry, I'm trying to catch up on chat real quick. Tampa Bay says, Ebor is waiting. Don't tell Scarlett. Shh. Scott Hill, my diamond hands have turned to red. Too deep in the red to sell. You know, if I was short and if I was thinking that Avatar might do really well, as good as Top Gun, and knowing what happened when Top Gun came out and AMC ran up 100% in the weeks following the release of Top Gun, you might want to take the opportunity right now to put out as much FUD and accidental misinformation to confuse people and run the price down before you get the hammer dropped on you. That is what I think is going to happen, that we're going to have a run up once the Avatar numbers start coming in on box office and attendance. It's going to be potentially, record setting numbers. I sure hope so. My crystal ball is fuzzy till December 15th. But the early indications are that the movie's really good. I know a lot of you have already bought tickets. We got all the people that went to see it way back, when was that, 2014? And we got a whole new generation of people ready to learn about Avatar. So I think it could do easily as well as Top Gun. Sugar Daddy talking about the International Bank of Derivatives, 80 trillion in debt coming due. It's not that 80 trillion is foreign exchange swaps. It's off the balance sheet, hidden risk to the world financial system. That's not going to be, if that blows up, that's not a depression. That is an implosion of the global finance system. All it takes is those swaps to go the wrong way. All right, let's talk about the earnings. This is, don't let your eyes glaze over. This will be pretty quick. I'm going to do the Reader's Digest version. There's no gotchas in here, but just to do my due diligence and stick with what we do here. I was going to try and zoom it. Oh, here we go. All right. So these three columns we have here is the quarter that just ended, the quarter from a year ago, and the quarter ending January 29th. I'm mostly going to be focusing on this first quarter, and I'm not going to talk about every line item. Don't worry. I'm going to give you the abbreviated version. But cash and cash equivalents a year ago was 1.4 billion. Cash right now is 800 million plus 238 million in marketable securities. That basically gives them about a little bit over $1 billion in cash. All right. There are other things, inventories and stuff, but obviously, since they're losing money, just like AMC and many other companies that you might be following, if they're in a negative earnings situation, they're losing money. You want to know how much cash do they have and how long can they survive on it, all things being equal. So they got a little bit over $1 billion in cash and cash equivalents, including these marketable securities. And I guess you could add receivables in that too. Current liabilities is mainly in accounts payable and accrued liabilities. I'm going to show you guys where gift cards come in as a liability account too, because I always tell you guys gift cards don't go into income when you buy them. They go into a liability account. AMC has a page where they show that, and so does GameStop. So as we zoom down through this real quick, I'll just highlight what to look for if you ever want to go find it. Total liabilities, including accounts payable and accrued liabilities, current portion of operating lease liabilities, and current portion of long-term debt, basically comes down to $2 billion. And total liabilities and stockholders' equity, $3.3 billion. All right, so that right here matches this. Now we go down to the statement of operations. Net sales, $1.18 billion. The only thing really worth noting on here is it is lower than it was a year ago. So October a year ago, they actually had more sales than this year. I would prefer, as anybody would when you're looking at a company's financials, that every quarter the net sales go up. And that is just, I'm not going to do this is not a GameStop AMC comparison, not by any stretch. But when you guys hear me talk about AMC, the overall trajectory of the revenues is going up. That's what I want to see. And I will point out to you, if we start having quarters going flat or negative, that is a potential problem. This is just a very slight difference, but I would prefer to see this number higher. Cost of sales, 900 million. So to sell 1.1 billion, all of the costs that go into that were almost 900 million. Gross profit, 291 million. You heard him talk about the SG&A, the selling general administrative expenses. That was 387 million, or about 32% of the net sales. That gives them a net loss of $94 million. So what does that mean? If they're losing 94 million in the quarter and they have 1 billion-ish in cash, let's just say $1 billion and 100 million, they easily, if nothing were to change, have 10 quarters worth of cash to survive and do this plan. So no immediate risk. If everything stays equal, no immediate risk of GameStop going bankrupt. Net loss was 31 cents, and that was an improvement from a year ago at minus 35 cents. Cash flows, I'm just going to skip that. Not my strongest analysis. I want to show you all of this standard stuff, but I want to show you before we end up, let's talk about where the revenue came from. 627 million on hardware, 352 million on software, 207 million on collectibles. All of these numbers, the first two, hardware and software, were down from a year ago. Also, slightly concerning to me, but maybe not concerning to you if you're thinking that, hey, the transformation plan is to capitalize on digital stuff. And this is why they need to capitalize on digital. If you're not having every quarter being better, and showing incremental growth, you need to do something. You're either going to need to cut costs, close stores, lay off people, or figure out another way to create revenue. And that's what they're working on, creating new revenue streams through e-commerce. And that's what we're waiting on. There was a slight increase in the collectibles sales. And here is, where is it? Oh, right here. Here's the liability table on gift cards and other things. So you can see this one, increase to contract liabilities. And the footnote number 1, this includes issuances of gift cards, trading credits and loyalty points, reservation deposits, subscriptions to the magazine, etc. And then number 2 is when those things are redeemed, including footnote number 2, includes redemptions of gift cards. So that was minus 630 million. So once someone uses a gift card, whether it's GameStop, AMC, Macy's, whatever, when you buy it, it goes in their books as a liability. Yes, you gave them cash. Everybody thinks they made the income. That's not really how it works in accounting. They create a liability account, and then whenever the card is used, whether that's the next day or a year from then they can decrease the liability account and then book it as revenue. So that's why I was saying, if you want to help GameStop or AMC, go buy some merchandise, buy some popcorn, more so than a gift card. Nothing wrong whatsoever with buying gift cards, but just recognize that when you buy a gift card, the revenue won't be booked until the quarter your gift recipient uses it for whatever company. And I think that was it. They have some of 251, what is that, 1,000 or million? 251 million in probably treasuries. That was up there at the top of the balance sheet in non-cash securities. That's about it. There's no surprises here, nothing really alarming. They got plenty of cash, and we're just waiting. We're waiting for the transformation plan on GameStop. All right, let me see what comments I missed here. Keygen says, if CPI is good on the 13th and we get great avatar numbers, we could see a huge run up. I'll add in one other factor, Keygen. Don't forget Jerry Powell next Wednesday. 1796 Patriot says, are you getting involved with the town hall meeting they're going to hold? I don't know anything about a town hall meeting, Mr. Patriot. Sorry. Neil says, I had an interesting time defending AMC today on MR's channel. Yeah, I don't know why anyone would go try and talk talk AMC over there. But God bless you. Hopefully he was happy with the GameStop numbers. I mean, it's up in after hours, so it's good news. Doc Zeno says, I remember the AMC X article too. Thank you. So I'm not crazy. Walt says this happened before last year, and it happened. Yes, in 2021 it happened, and 2020 it was happening. And I'm sure you guys have noticed. I've noticed a major ramp up in the FUD comments, both in the chats and in my video comments. Most of them I just leave up because I want to track who they are and how often they leave messages. So don't think I don't see them. I'm just ignoring them. I don't respond to stuff like that. I know what they're doing. They're either bears, short sellers, paid fudsters, or somebody really mad that GTII and Cosm are falling. Even though I never talked bad about either of those stocks or anybody pushing them. I just looked at the chart and kind of knew it was going to happen. I'm just doing TA on charts. I don't care. I don't care who pushes what. People got to push stuff to get it moving. Those were great plays until they weren't. But I saw you guys bashing them in their chats on Webull. Poor GTII and Cosmos stockholders. Don't be mean to them. Everybody likes to make money, and there was plenty of money to be made as long as you didn't listen to someone telling you $100. Juice says the problem is we're not holding any moves. We went up and down almost 30% in 3 days. Yeah. I think that I'm just guessing that initial run up we had a few days back on, if you're talking about AMC, was probably somebody covering. And then once that buying pressure stopped, some new shorts came in, shorted it down, and it ran right back down. I'm just guessing. Richard says Bigham's wasn't wrong. He's just early. That quote actually belongs to someone else. But yes, I think a lot of people have a lot of things right. And it's a matter of being patient and letting them play out. Robert B says the AMC X article makes me feel a run is going to happen soon. They're desperate. Proud Ma, how you doing? If you missed the last 5 minutes, all you missed was me running through the financials real quick. Reader's Digest version. Sales are down slightly from a year ago, but the company has plenty of cash. And if you're curious, like, well, how does that compare to something like an AMC? AMC has 600 plus million in cash and another couple $100 million in credit reserves they can tap. So really the question, and what I'm going to be looking for, because last quarter we burned through over 200 million. I've been saying we've got enough to make it through the next year. I'll add an asterisk to that, assuming that the Q4 numbers are substantially higher than Q3 and we reduce the cash burn. So what I'm expecting, and maybe some would say in overly optimistic fashion, is that revenues will be higher in Q4 and Q1 than Q3 and cash burn will be less. If we're able to knock the cash burn down in half, that's buying another couple quarters. And then we get further into 2023 on AMC, higher and higher revenues with more money, more movies coming out. Things get better. These are the things we're going to need to keep a close eye on if you're in AMC stock. They got to have increasing revenues, or AMC will run out of cash or be forced to sell more ape at a price none of us want. Assuming no catalyst happens before then, right? If everything stayed the same, we got to have movies, good ones, a lot of them, and people go see them. That's the bottom line. Nana Ape says, Tony, do you think ape will go back up? I hope so. I said this morning on the live stream or this afternoon, sorry. I said this morning in the Discord, and this afternoon on the live stream. Ape has been in a free fall for a while, and my last buy on it was at $1. But I'm also getting to the point where I know the 15th is right around the corner. I don't know how much they're going to try and crush it between the now and the 15th with Avatar. So day by day, right now, I'm just going to watch it. I have no plans to add Ape. I've been only buying Ape since August, adding to my overall position because it's so damn cheap, right? But I'm not buying it at 90. I'm not buying at 80. I'm not buying at 70. This is me. I'm not telling you guys. This is no instructions. I've been buying a shit ton. If it hits 50 cents, I'll consider buying some more. That's not a prediction. I fucking hope it doesn't go to 50 cents. But with the press they've been putting on it, and with the negative sentiment in the market, I don't know. I mean, going down 9 or 10% per day, it could be at 50 cents in 3 days. So I take that day by day. If I see it bottom out at 81 cents and start coming back up, then I'd rather, then I'll feel more comfortable buying some at 80 cents. But you got to have some foot in reality at some point and say, I'm not going to chase this to a penny. We'll buy the shit out of it at a penny, but you got to also protect yourself. So that's where I'm at. You guys do what you want. I'll consider buying some more at 50 cents if, God forbid, it gets down that far. Hobbled Wobbler says, thoughts on CRTD's CEO. I listened to his recording on the Marines channel. I thought it was fantastic speech. I like that he's taking some action. We talked about hiring attorneys and hiring that same company, the other company that he's hiring to do the data analysis. We talked about that in AMC land like a year and a half ago. I think the general consensus with most people is this play will be over before that's ever worth it. Here we are, December 2022. The play's not over and we did nothing. Maybe in retrospect, it would have been good to have a parallel path. I do not agree with anybody that says that will cause a delisting or that's all Lou FUD. You can do a lawsuit. AMC can do a lawsuit. AMC can ask for an investigation. It's not going to delist anything or stop trading. It happens all the time. So yes, I would support at this point Adam Aron taking any action to try and uncover manipulative techniques, hiring Wes Christian or some attorney of Adam Aron's choosing, hiring a trading data analysis company like CRTD is doing. Absolutely. I'll call it a parallel path. While we're waiting for a catalyst or we're waiting for fundamentals, all that legal stuff is going to take a long time. But I'm already in the boat of I'm thinking this is going to take a long time anyway. So what do I have? I have nothing against a parallel path to try and unearth some manipulation and some illegality. Someone who doesn't have a name says, how much AMC Ape do you own, if you don't mind my asking? I mean, I don't mind you asking, but I would prefer nobody disclose their share count just in case we don't know who's watching. What I've said and what I've shown in a prior video is I had shares and call options back in June. I made on my call options, I sold those first while I was watching YouTubers. I was not live streaming during the AMC squeeze, guys. I was watching and buying since late May. I made tens of thousands of dollars of profit. I forget how much, 40, 50,000. It's on a video I put out months ago. And so the shares that I have, I was hoping that it would go higher than 72. I started buying at 8. And over the course of 2021, I bought as it came down. I think my high price that I bought at between 8 and 38, but I'm down, 5 digits on those. But overall on my trade, including the options from June and other profitable call options on AMC that I've sold in 2021, every time it takes a dip, like this recent dip, I bought January call options with the $8 strike. I'm hoping those play out. 75% of the call options I bought in 2021 paid off. Some of them didn't. So I'm fine on my overall AMC position, but I'm as much in the red probably as you guys are, or more than some of you on my shares. But hey, it is what it is. No one was expecting a 1-year recession. Some of us were expecting a brutal stock market crash. Instead, we got a semi-stock market crash that seems to be taking forever. So it is what it is. Everybody's portfolios are down across Tesla, Amazon, Meta, just about, you name it. Everything's in the red. So I don't worry about that stuff. The only thing I worry about is, can AMC get to a profitable quarter situation before they run out of money? That's really the only concern I have at this point. Once AMC's making break even, the debt becomes easier to deal with. We'll be a couple quarters, 2, 3, 4 quarters down the road. And the short thesis becomes even more problematic. The more the economy recovers, people feel comfortable about going to movies. Production houses are putting out more and more and more and more movies. Maybe they get the hint that we don't want to see crap movies and they put out better movies. I'm fine with my shares. As long as, like I said, you got to keep an eye on the cash. I don't want to minimize that. If there's a lot of stocks I was buying all the way until November of 2021. If I sold everything because I was in the red, I'd be selling, a lot of my portfolio. I'm a long-term investor. I take a portion of my investments and swing trade them or momentum trade them, or, the play of the day, the GTIIs and the Cosmos. But mostly when I'm buying stuff, I'm buying it till it hits the price target that I want. And I'm okay holding for a long time. I know a lot of you were not told that by the people that were here before me, that the squeeze was imminent any day. But this has always been the channel. As much as people get mad at me saying it's okay to be patient, it's okay to recognize that we're in a bear market. And yes, the bears and the shorts and the manipulators will take advantage of that. I'm not saying that, it's just because of the bear market. They are capitalizing on the bear market to punish you emotionally even more by shorting it, because they can, because the market sentiment is down. And that's on any stock. And that's on crypto. I've spent 2 days listening to Jim Cramer shit on crypto. Very common manipulation technique. Richard says, do I think AMC could run past 72 on the next squeeze? Richard, it depends on what the short interest is. I want the shorts to have as many shares available to borrow as possible, so that short interest can go as high as possible. The higher the short interest, the more they need to pay to cover, the more shares they need to buy to cover. Is that clear? I don't want to see, we're not going to get a squeeze if they have nothing to borrow. There'll be no squeeze. You might force them out over the next year, but I want them to load up the shorts and then something happen to make them get out quick, a catalyst. And that's the second thing. I want high short interest. I want a catalyst that creates massive buying pressure from retail, from FOMO, from big institutions, from high-speed traders. And in conjunction with that, you need to have a loaded up options chain to send it past 72, Richard, in my opinion. And that's not counting any synthetic shares, nakeds, billions of synthetics, whatever people want to talk about. I'm just talking about a good old fashioned legit squeeze based off things we can tangibly put our hands on. Those things that I just laid out could definitely send it higher than 72, but I can't make any absolute predictions where it could go because it's going to depend on when it happens and what, if any of those criteria are in place. What was the catalyst? How many shorts were laid in to the stock? What price did they get in? A lot of shorts. I could pull up the Ortex and look at their average price, but a lot of the shorts, it's going to take a big run up to get them out of their position. I don't know, how many that shorted at 40 or 28 are still holding, but I bet it's a bunch. So you gotta break all those levels. And I don't know about you guys if you're watching all these other plays, but you see these other plays run up and then they push it back down. You know what that is, right? That is the retail gets it running and then the shorts start covering and then whoever was covering stops. And guess what? Someone else comes in and shorts it back down. You got to break that pattern multiple times to send it. Neil says, what was wrong with the GME call? Nothing wrong with it. It was short. We just keep on hoping, Neil, every quarter that they'll drop us the transformation plan, but we're patient. We're patient here. I thought the overall picture of GameStop is very good. But that obviously, just like AMC, is a game of patience because they got plenty of runway in GameStop in cash to last a long time. But when that stock is going to be sent is when Ryan Cohen or the CEO drops the news of, you've been waiting a year and a half, you've been waiting 2 years, here's what you've been waiting for. And boy, when that news hits, I want to be holding some GameStop as cheap as I could get it. Vinny says they did the same thing with Cosmos on the run up. Yeah, Vinny, I see it almost every day in all of these plays. Some people call them short squeeze plays, like I call Cosmos and GTII. Initially there was some shorts in probably GTII and Cosmos, and they got run out, and retail just pushed it and pushed it and pushed it till probably what happened with Cosmos around $8-9. Any shorts that were in it, I know, I'm sorry, William and Ham, all the guys that are big believers in GTII, I think that most of the shorts got out by $9. That's why you saw it just crater. I know they want to say that, they just kept on creating shares. Maybe. The sad thing is we have no way of knowing. There's no way to get a handle on that. And daily short volume is not evidence of short interest. It's evidence of shorting that day. So I'll agree to disagree with them on that. But when you see those big spikes up and then it just quits, that was probably the end of the short covering. And then some new ones come in. So now you got to beat the second round. You got to have that sustained buying. Tampa Bay Buckeye says perpetual short locates as FTDs are hidden in custodial wrapped shitcoins on dozens of crypto exchanges. Yep. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert on tokenized stocks. I've looked into it for weeks. I tweeted out something. It was actually, I think, a quote from Peter Hahn that got picked up in a couple of articles. And it was the thing that finally resonated to me as the most logical potential explanation. If, I've been struggling with the tokenized stocks. If they were mostly created 500-600 days ago and not really traded since then, how could anybody be using that? But what Peter said is it could pass as a logical explanation if a exchange, be it FTX or any of them, says they have these tokenized shares backed by real shares. Oh yeah, we got it. We got you. You need a locate for your naked short. Yeah, I'll sell you some of these tokens. Send us some money. Maybe that's what's going on. I was trying. I haven't found any transaction log showing any recent transactions on tokenized stocks. That's the biggest stumbling block I have. All of the Etherscan transaction logs that I found on tokenized AMC stocks, there had been no recent trading in the last almost 2 years. JT is saying, is the after hours with GameStop and AMC advancing might be a positive move for the AM. Tough call. Tough for me to say. I think really right now everything's moving on market news. Just like I said earlier, if we're talking about AMC, for example, I'm bullish and optimistic about Avatar on the 15th, but I got to, being a conservative and reasonable market economics watcher, I got to also temper my expectations by, we could be rug pulled. Avatar news could be rug pulled by Jerry Powell and the CPI. Best case scenario, everything lines up in our favor. Otherwise, we'll just have to see which one carries the day. Sometimes the market can crash, and even if AMC could still run if the Avatar news is good enough. So it's hard for me to say with certainty what happens next week or tomorrow, but I will always wake up every day optimistic. And first thing I do, check the pre-market, check Asia, check Europe, check the headlines, and see how the big guys are feeling. Jersey Recycler says, am I holding CGRA? I am still holding it, believe it or not. It went up to 12 cents today. Here's my thesis on CGRA. Do not take this as a buy recommendation. I have found nothing good to tell you about CGRA. There's a dearth, a lack of information out there on it because it's OTC. Even my normal info that I find on like a GTII, it's been tough for me to find data to talk good or bad about CGRA, but it had momentum. And so I grabbed some, and just thinking to myself, if Cosmos and GTII crater, people are going to be looking for the next thing. And this one's still cheap, 10 cents. So I'm holding it as long as it holds at this level. If it starts, just like anything else, these pump and dump plays, sorry for the terminology, that's just what I call them, the things that run up and back down in a week or two, that have no other information you can really say good about them at all. If it starts coming down, I'll sell it without question, without hesitation. So that is a pure gamble play for me. Tomorrow, don't forget, we should have the IPO for Jewel, Jewl, and Raya, Raya. I have a pre-buy in on Raya. I did not pre-buy Jewel, but I'll be live streaming those. Mama always said IPOs are like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. No promises. We've had IPOs run to insane numbers. We've had IPOs tank after the first 5 minutes. But every single one that I've talked about and suggest that you get in early, the pre-buy before the IPO day, everybody that's done that has made money. You try and buy on the run up in the first 2 minutes, and on the 3rd minute it tanks. You know, the nice thing about the pre-buy is it usually launches a little bit higher than what you bought it at. So you got a hot minute to decide what you're going to do. I will decide on Jewel once the first couple minutes of trading is in. I'm not going to buy anything on the first 5 minutes. Raya, I'm already in. PD Harris says, if this has already been posted, can 8 be delisted? So I think we're convinced now, PD. I've been looking for weeks for any regulation that specifically said something about preferred shares, and someone finally sent it to me last night, and I retweeted it this morning. I am satisfied that preferred shares cannot be delisted unless the parent company is, even if they go under $1. But in general, for other tickers on NYSE, you must have 30 consecutive trading days, not calendar, trading days under $1. But that seems that does not apply to preferred shares. And in addition to the gentleman sending me that clip from the regulations, I can tell you that every instance I found while I was looking of preferred shares that were delisted because the parent company went bankrupt. So I think it all meshes up, makes sense to me now. And I'm not worried about that. Meanwhile, other people are writing to the company, and if anything changes, I'll let you know, but I think we're good. Do I think Cosmos is done, James? Cosmos. So I'll say the same thing that I say on all these plays that run up and run back down quick. The main thing that I'm looking for, and the reason I said, where's GTII? The reason I said way back here in early October that GTII was likely done is I said that as like early as October 7th, that it would never see $8 again. When I start seeing the price declining and the volume declining right here, that's usually a good indicator that it's losing momentum and the sellers are taking over or the shorts regain control. And what I was telling the folks in the Discord and people like Tindy Time in DMs when he would ask me about it, I said, you could get a bounce off of $2. There's sometimes what we call the second mini pump. And we did get a bounce right here. We did not really get a big bounce in late November. We got just a mini pump. But when I see this, and I see that again on Cosmos, I'm starting to get concerned for Cosmos. So I bought it on Monday. That was up here. And if I pulled up the hourly chart or the 10-minute chart, you can look on Monday and see it didn't do jack shit. I was hoping that we'd get the second little. There was still a lot of retail interest in Cosmos, and I'll try it. I'll give it another chance. But when I saw that it didn't really happen at all during the day on Monday, I sold it about 5 minutes before the market closed, and I have not gone back in. And now we got 2 more days of down candles and downward volume. So could it have another run? Yeah, if there's news. If there's news, sure. Or some big buyer comes in. There could also be a support bounce around 25, 28 cents where it tries to rally one more time. No one can predict everything perfectly, but I'm guessing, and with lack of major news, that this one's probably going to trend back down. Just my opinion, just looking at the chart, nothing against Cosmos. And I 100% could be wrong. Landon says Raya already got pushed. Did it? Did I miss it? Oh, pushed to the 13th. Expected IPO date 13th. Son of a bitch. Sure did, didn't it? Jewel is still scheduled for the 8th, though. All right. I got to update my thumbnail for tomorrow. Maggie, good evening to you up in Maine. Jack Wolf, what's up, amigo? I think someone's saying kick that mod to the curb. I think it's the Streamlabs. That's an automated bot. The bot doesn't like it if you do all caps. I could care less if people do caps, but you guys know how you get your chat bombed by these people pushing sex channels or the latest crypto scam. They all come in all caps and emojis. So to keep a handle on that, I had to put certain rules in place with the bot. Just makes it easier on me from a administrative perspective on running the chat. Do we talk about Highcroft, Nana? Not yet tonight. What would you like to know? Why is it dropping? I don't have a great idea why, the last several days it's been dropping. Yes, Mudrick sold some recently, according to a 13F filing. Maybe I could pull that up. I mean, but that wasn't in the last 3 days. Maybe I'll pull it up just so I can tell you the exact dates. Gold and silver have been going up. There's no good answer for me to tell you other than somebody's selling or somebody's pushing it down on purpose why it's going down. But I also tell you, as a owner of Highcroft and an owner of calls that expire in 2025, I want you to hear that year again, 2025. Why do I say that twice? Because for me, Highcroft is a long-term investment. I've laid out the case why that is. Does not mean I'm anti-Highcroft, despite what you hear on the Looney Tunes channels. I'm not against Highcroft. Further could be from the truth, but I have a realistic view of how long it's going to take them to get revenue coming in again and get the new milling plant. And so what happens on Highcroft this week, next month is irrelevant to me. As if it keeps on dropping, I'll buy some more. I just recently bought some in the 60 something cent range. So I'm not, I like to at least have at least a 20% rundown in the price before I consider adding any more. Mudrick sold on 12/2. Well, the form was filed on 12/2. Let's see what the date is. Let me pull up the actual form. If I can. Effective date 12/2. So probably in the day or days preceding 12/2, that was right here. Mudrick sold 2 million shares, 2.2 million. But even still after that, we went down for 3 more days. So I'm not blaming Mudrick for the last 3 days. Might have had something to do with the couple days before 12/2. It is what it is. I'm not worried about Hycroft. In my world, it's a speculative play. It's going to be a long-term play. It's going to require a lot of patience. It's going to bounce all over the place based on news. There'll be some core results that they're releasing before the end of this month, according to the latest news from Diane Garrett and Hycroft. And I would expect a little nice bounce off of that. Retail loves to push this thing up on a core sample report, even though that is no meaningful immediate short-term revenue. But you could see a bounce at some point whenever they drop that press release. In the meantime, I don't really care what it does. If it gets cheap enough, I'll add more. I would like to see it over $1, of course, because they got to worry about reverse split otherwise. But they got a long time. Hycroft's on NASDAQ, right? They got a long time. 180. They got 180 days, and then they can do another appeal after that. That's I'm not saying I'm not going to be like the channels that say, "Hey guys, we got a delisting notice. This is bullish." No, I hear people saying that all the time on other stocks. It cracks me up. I'll never tell you that a delisting notice is bullish, but I will tell you got plenty of time for it to get over $1. As we get closer to that date, then they'll just do an extension, get another 180 days, and then let's hope in all that time that it takes that the stock organically gets over $1. Proud Boss says, what happened to Fun? PHUN. It's getting beat down with DWAC. Proud Ma. Fun and DWAC tend to run together on Trumpy news. So you gotta wait. You gotta wait for some Trumpy news. DevStat says Adam Aaron tweeted out on February 16th about the Justice Department pursuing investigations on short sellers. I don't know off the top of my head how long Justice Department investigations take. I know you guys have seen it. The SEC investigations seem to take eons, right? The SEC announced today that they've concluded an investigation on Citadel for violations between 2008 and 2012. Bro, we're in 2021. The fuck are you talking about? A fine has been levied of $400 million. Kenny G said no trips to the skits, no trips to the strip. I can't talk. No trips to the strip club next week, boys. 400 million penalty. Y'all got caught. SEC investigates slow as hell, unless it's Kim Kardashian. Boy, they're all over that. Here's another 100, Gary. Can you slow this investigation down? Kim didn't know that secret. She's not paying for somebody's political campaign either. Maxine Waters. Sam. Sam, hi. Let me send you a tweet. Sam, how you doing today? Would you consider, Sam, coming in front of Congress? Oh, you can't make it? Okay, well then that's okay. Don't worry. What did you do anything illegal, Sam? He says he didn't do anything illegal. I'm good with that. Maxine Waters. What a joke. I mean, literally, if you look at the SEC, did I say the wrong year, Maggie? If you look at the SEC sanctions they do against these companies, they're like nailing them for stuff they did 10 years ago. It's crazy. I'm trying to find the Highcroft delisting notice. It was recent. I think it was like mid-November-ish. Anyways, we got plenty of time. When I start getting worried about it, I will definitely tell you, and I will never tell you to ignore a filing, and I will never tell you to ignore a delisting notice. Oh, Ryan Cohen filed that he's going to sell BBBY. It's bullish, guys. Don't worry. It just says he might do it. No, we don't play that way here. If they file something, you better take it serious. Stop listening to these channels that tell you to ignore filings. That's when you know you're being pumped and dumped. People want me to give you a list of pump and dumpers. If they're telling you to ignore filings, you need to stop listening to that channel. She threw him a kiss when he left. Nana says, why don't they give back the money that was donated to the Dems to the holder that lost the money? That is a good question. How about some of those people that took donations on either side of the aisle? Sam says he donated to both. He just didn't talk about the Republican donations. All right, whatever. If you donated to both, how about all of y'all, congressmen and women, step up and give that money back to help out your constituents that lost billions of dollars? How about that? That's a good point. Why don't they do that? Because they're greedy. They got vacations to pay for. Come on. Broke Ape says, meanwhile, I'm in a Carvana put after the bankruptcies and restructuring talk and idiots running it up. Who would run up Carvana? Did that happen? Yeah, I'm sure there's channels covering Carvana saying, don't worry, guys, it's going to be fine. Buy the dip. Thanks for the discount. I see this in every damn stock. Same thing. Here's one. I loaded up. Oh, he says I loaded up one share. At least he was reasonable. Buying calls. Let's gamble. Calls are in the money. Anything up is icing on the cake. If this is going bankrupt, how come everyone's buying? Good scalp to $4.75. Squeeze. If they don't go bankrupt, we'll all get rich off of this. Good entry point to slowly start building a portfolio position. Golly, come on. It's just never ending, the denial in every damn ticker. Like when a company, I mean, the buzzards are circling Carvana. Come on. Just wait for them to go bankrupt. Pick you up some OTC Carvana like on Hertz. And then be patient. Anything new on MMTLP? Jack is wanting to know. Jack, have you heard the news about the corporate action finally being listed by FINRA? So the dates are confirmed by FINRA. I'm not going to talk about the dates. Go watch a MMTLP channel. I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Even all the people covering it are giving conflicting news. I'm not going to get involved in that, but here in a couple days, just know it's going to go private. Here in a couple days, if you hold it to the bitter end, whatever it's at, whether it's $12 or $1, if you hold it to the bitter end, you're going to get shares of NextBridge that are not tradable. So my prediction, based on common sense, is that people will sell as that date gets closer and closer. Or people will stop buying because they want to get the NextBridge spinoff, and the shorts will take advantage of that to push it down. But those people won't care because they want the NextBridge spinoff. So I'm not sure what happened here yesterday. This was a beautiful save for some people. $5 back up to $9.90. Was that a massive buyer coming in at the last minute, or was that some of the shorts covering like people were promised? I don't know. Probably some retail shorts covering. Maybe some institutional ones, but it looks like that slowed down. And this type of situation where a stock gets spun off into another one and then gets taken private is not one I have seen a million times. So I'm basing my guess on what's going to happen based on common sense. I could be wrong. Everyone disagrees with me that everyone thinks it's going to push to 100. I hope for all of y'all that are holding it, it does. But I can't say that with certainty. Nick M, am I still buying the ape dip? I bought at $1, Nick, and I said this afternoon, this morning, and in this broadcast that I'm not buying anymore unless it falls below or to 50 cents. Too much falling going on right now. Too much negative market sentiment. And I'm just going to watch. If it stabilizes at 80 for a while, I'd buy some at 80. But as long as it's falling every day, I just, you got to step back and let it level out at some point. Jordan says Tony's lighting the fire on a concoction of chemicals mixed together to form a flavor by a small child in China. Scarlett likes to smoke the ones of these that come prepackaged. I don't know what they're called. It's like a throwaway. It's got like 3,000 puffs. Maybe y'all know. It's not one that you fill up. It's a prepackaged unit, and when it's done, it's done. You throw it away and buy another one for $15-20. Anyways, I saw a video of the production line of those very things in China, and their quality control for everyone. They had a tray of like 75 of them. And yeah, the Chinese person, the QA person, was like putting their mouth on every single one, making sure it's smoked. And I told her that. I was like, do you realize that already had someone's lips on it? She's like, tastes good though. Oh, Lordy. I mean, couldn't you at least have a plastic sleeve? Couldn't you have a mouth condom or something? What do you call it? Something to not put your lips and spit right on it. Patriot says my experience with spinoffs is BBIG and Tide, but see, I agree with you, Patriot, but it was different, right? And same thing I said on BBIG and Tide. I had calls on BBIG and I sold them. I was live streaming that day. We talked about it. I sold them at the peak the day before the spinoff. It ran up and I sold them. Tony says he always sells everything that, no, I fucking did. I'll show you the trade receipt if you don't believe me. Because I had been saying once that date comes, you're going to spin off value from the company. It's going to go down. But I had the calls because I know this FOMO is so predictable, and the fall after the spinoff is so predictable, unfortunately, too. But people, it's like Charlie Brown. People line up for the same shit over and over, thinking it's going to be different this time. But the difference with BBIG and Tide is at least Tide spun off to a ticker that you could still trade. NextBridge is not even going to be tradable. Like, why would you hold that? Well, Tony, you don't understand. I got 20 billion of oil in the ground. Okay. Have you read actually the documents where they talk about losing money and risk and may never make money? If we ever go public with NextBridge, we're going to need to do dilution, yada, 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 yada. Do you guys read anything? Or you just believe somebody that's pumping it on YouTube? Maggie says, I'm still wearing a mask in public. I saw 2 YouTube shorts that popped up in my suggested videos today, Maggie, of people getting in fights, men beating other men up because they walk too close to them without wearing a mask. I'm like, I actually asked myself, people are still wearing masks? But if you have a illness or if you're older, then I 100% support you. If you have any respiratory issues, if you're older, there's not just because of the lingering COVID that's still going around that can make elderly or immune compromised people still very sick. We got the flu and other things going around. It's that time of year. So nothing wrong with wearing a mask if you need to. I will never judge anybody for that. But why are people still fighting over it? Come on. Lordy, smoke that and French kiss a Chinese guy. I ain't kissing no Chinese guys. But I guess Scarlett, by proxy, is French kissing some Chinese male or female, whoever is running QA that day. Tampa Bay Buckeye says for CGRA, watch the Senate Omnibus. Senate Omnibus, is it BS or is it no good? I did hear someone talking about the Senate bill. I have Sundial already too, so I have a little bit of Sundial that I picked up at 25 cents way back when. Juicy says I got to protect my mom. My mom, yeah. Scarlett's mom is she's on oxygen, so I'm by no means minimizing anybody wearing a mask. Right? I want you to know that she's been in the hospital in a coma for a month. She's been in the hospital, rushed in ambulances many times. She's had a tracheotomy. I mean, it's a literal mirror, not related to COVID, none of this, but she's at risk. So, we got to take precautions around her. That's what, I guess, a lifetime of smoking cigarettes. I think her mom smoked since she was probably a young teen. A lifetime of cigarettes will do that to you. To some people, not to George Burns. Broke Apes. Yeah, I don't want to divert this conversation into something that's going to make YouTube shut down the stream. Broke Ape. I'm no doctor. I just respect everybody's choice. You do what you need to do to feel safe, and some people need to be safe. So. Nanook says, Seeking Alpha is playing with fire with those bullshit articles. I hope that you guys continue to apply pressure to them, let them know we're not going to stand for that bullshit, but the damage is already done today. Let's hope that people realize by tomorrow that that was fake news. But damn it, it does seem calculated and on purpose, doesn't it? Muck says there was a shooting at his local Walmart. Where do you live, Muck? What city? All about choice and not tyranny, Hoops. I can I will agree with that statement. Cigarettes used to be healthy back in the 50s and 60s. You know, have anybody watched Mad Men? I love that show. The irony of the smoking in the office, the drinking in the office, all the going on a picnic and then just shaking the blanket off right there on the side of the road, leaving all the trash. The blatant sexism and discrimination against women. But the smoking. It's just the smoking and the drinking in the office like it's nothing. Hallie says, not sure if I saw Canadian make a Canada put through a 0.5 point rate hike today. I did not see that. So was cocaine, Sleepy said. I think cocaine is still socially acceptable in a lot of major cities at work. Didn't y'all see that Citadel drone video? The guy that like, it's a late night. We got to get this, got to keep these IT systems running. Still working in Asia. Smoking in an airplane, yeah. In some, I feel like I've been in some Asian countries that still allowed smoking on an airplane. And some of my coworkers used to tell me, and I know they weren't joking, that they had in previous years before I started traveling to Asia, they'd be on some of these smaller, I don't know if it was some of the smaller Chinese airlines or other countries, but they'd put up folding chairs in the aisle to get more people on the plane. I never saw that, but they said that used to happen too. Manuel says, I wonder if you can smoke in the RJ Reynolds corporate offices. I don't know. Could Seeking Alpha be short AMC? Six on, they could be working with someone or being paid by someone that is short. Absolutely. I think many of the mass media get a script handed down. I've retweeted some of the TV stations around the country all reading the same script. A lot of these media outlets are owned by like 3 people. And yes, if the boss wants it talked down, he will hand down the talking points. And they will have to say what he wants them to say or risk getting fired. I've even heard them say that on CNBC. Oh, I better stop talking now. I don't want to lose my job. That was live, buddy. You just said that live, right? You realize that? I saw Sleepy's talking about Cocaine Bear. I saw people tweeting about that, and I thought it was a joke. And then I saw a trailer for it. Is it real? Cocaine Bear? Is that a real thing? Is that really going to be a movie? The previews looked hilarious. It's hard to tell what's reality these days and what is just what is people just having fun. Nuck says yes. Juicy says yes. Based on a true story. All right. Y'all have questions on any other tickers? Now we know Raya got pushed to the 13th. Jewel is tomorrow. One other ticker that has been interesting these past few days is Summit, SMMT. What was that one today, guys, that ran up 195%? The other pharmaceutical company? Someone help me out. Another one to keep an eye on tomorrow, although I think it might be a good short for some of you that are shorting. Summit went up another 33% today. 2 days ago, it was at 80 cents. Now it's at 30 cents. And again, just a reminder, this one has been trading flat till about 2 p.m. every day. So I'm going to pay more attention to it tomorrow. Every day I give up in the morning and just say, fuck the market. I'm going to be more productive. and then of course, when I walk away, it shoots up. RNAS. No, I don't think it was RNAS. RXDX, that might be it. Yeah, this is it. Prometheus. Where's Prometheus? Prometheus Biosciences. Look at that gap up. 35 to 119. Holy. But when I see something like that, I think if I was a short seller, I'd be shorting for the gap back down. I think they announced phase 2 completion with, if I recall correctly, and if I'm thinking of the right ticker, 26% elimination of symptoms versus 1% on the placebo, which is pretty substantial. And this was maybe for Crohn's disease or something. Sorry, I look at so many things in the day, it's hard to keep them all straight, the little details. But you can go read about RxDX in the news. Make your own decisions. Might be one worth watching tomorrow. Wonder if they have options on that. They do have options on it. Puts anyone? I'm going to check into that tonight. Oh, well, what do you know? Do you guys notice how every time you've heard me talk about this with AMC and many other stocks, every time a stock runs up, what do? We'd like to announce an offering of common stock. Those fuckers. 6 hours ago. Prometheus announces proposed public offering of common stock, intends to sell 250 million of its common stock. All right, so go read up on that. Another potential reason that it might drop. Dilution incoming. Never frickin' fails. It's like the Wall Street handbook. Your stock shoots up, dilute, make some money, quick. They had that paperwork ready to effing go. It was ready to go. There's no way the lawyers got that pulled together since this morning. This was ready to go. God. Is BBIG going to get delisted? I don't know. I haven't been tracking BBIG. When when did they get their delisting notice? And have they exhausted both 180 days? They've only been under $1 since July. So that would 180 days would give them till December, then they can appeal and get another 180 days. So I would not think so, but who am I? Who am I to say? Typically, a company is going to fight till they run out of options. And on NASDAQ, you get a chance to appeal for another 180 days. Nanook I like that comment, Nanook. Nanook says, these hit pieces aren't designed for investors or traders. They're to legitimize the ebbs and flows of the algos. Or, Nanook, they could be to trick the algo, right? Algos are stupid. Right? Take that. You know what I mean? They're computers. They read an input, they take an action. Can you imagine putting out a hit piece with the correct wording to trigger the algo into a sell pattern? I can imagine somebody doing that. Sure can. But it could be to legitimize it also, or it could be to trigger it. Lordy says, what's coming up with the Fed? Next Wednesday, Lordy, if I'm not mistaken, we get the next decision on interest rates in the U.S. And we were expecting that he was going to slow down to 0.5 point. But then the jobs numbers came in kind of hot last week. And so now it's kind of up in the air if he's going to do 0.5 point or still 0.75 point. I don't know what to tell you. 50-50. DevStat says Jon Stewart is finally acknowledging Ken Griffin as a financial terrorist and criminal. I need to search for that. Okay, other ticker questions. We talked about BBIG. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have BBIG on my list for me as a trade on momentum only. I've never found a reason to own BBIG or CEI or a lot of these companies. A lot of you have been asking me to do DD on MMAT. And that was on my list for tonight, but I ran out of time. So some point later tonight, if I can't fall asleep, I'll pull that up or do it later this week. I've been very close following MMTLP, but that is separate than MMAT. Same company, right? But separate DD. So I can't comment on MMAT. Mullen, I can comment on though. They have a meeting coming up, I think, December 23rd. As you probably know, if you're following Mullen or in Mullen, maybe you didn't know. I don't know what the Mullen pumpers are telling you, but the CEO sold himself a preferred share for $25,000. That gives him 1.3 billion shares of voting power. So I think whatever you vote for that upcoming meeting is going to be irrelevant because he can pretty much decide the vote. And then once the vote is done, the company's going to buy back the preferred share immediately and he'll get his 25,000 back. How convenient is that? I'm not making that up. That's all in the paperwork. Just like scam after scam, Wall Street executives, corporate America, screwing over the small guy. But on what else is on that vote is a reverse split, which they need to do, and dilution up to 5 billion shares. So I'm a little more bearish on Mullen right now than maybe some. 5 billion share total dilution and a reverse split will probably take the price down. But I don't know. They could come out with some news and pump the stock a little bit. I can only tell you what I see right now. And what I see right now is not the best news for the next couple weeks or maybe the next couple months. All right. DevStat says he sent me, I'm guessing you sent me the Jon Stewart thing on Twitter. Come on. Okay, here it is. Let's see if I can put this on a screen where you guys can hear it.
And the thing that I find most galling about all of this is the sort of, well, crypto is so difficult to understand, and that, there's no way that we could have seen this or foreseen it. It's this brand new world, as though, as we talked about earlier, the general tenets of the corruption that exists between our government and the markets and all these big players, you could substitute out Lehman, Ken Griffin at Citadel. I mean, how is this different than Ken Griffin running a hedge fund at Citadel and also being the most gigantic market maker that we have?
Yeah.
And who's the biggest donor to all kinds of politicians?
Right.
It's Ken Griffin. I mean, the markings for corruption are all over our system, but they want to point to this as it's an anomaly.
The conflicts of interest are very familiar and dull, as I say. I mean, I'm sorry to be brought on your show to tell you that things are dull. But
you're not dull at all, baby. We're moving this through.
And yet we have people trying to convince us every day, there's no corruption. This is just normal trading. It's just people selling, nothing to worry about. You guys are all conspiracy theorists. Look, I know I only talk about data I can show you because, well, that was a choice I made. But yes, of course, I believe in corruption and things we can't see. I can't verbalize it. I can't quantify it to you. So I'll always tell you that I think that the system is corrupt and we're being screwed. I don't know how we fix this. Throw all the fucking bums out in Congress that are being paid off and get somebody serious in the SEC. But that's a big task. And not enough people pay attention to Wall Street. Most average Americans have their money taken out of their paycheck and shuttled off to their 401k, going into a mutual fund, and they don't pay attention. So all we can do is keep making noise, pray that people like Jon Stewart don't get Epsteined, and we may be fighting this the rest of our lives. But now we have social media to talk about this stuff. I don't think that the talk is going to go away. I hope you're in for the battle, however long it takes, if nothing else for your kids' sake. And I don't know that we will ever fix it. What gets things like this fixed is a 2008 type scenario. That's like, unfortunately, the best catalyst to force some change is the complete wrecking of everything. And I hate saying that. But that's where we're headed. Everybody keeps on talking about the $80 trillion of off the balance sheet foreign exchange swaps. Did you know, that they go through these maneuvers carefully to get around existing regulations, which are in place, to say it must be on the balance sheet, but then they do another transaction to get around the regulation and then get it off the balance sheet anyways? Like, how is that stuff legal? It's not. But they globally are putting all of our financial system at risk with stuff like this. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. It is maddening. Look, until we get it fixed, we can rail against the machine all we want. We can buy and hold. Some of us are, and you can pick your play. I'd say pick a play like an AMC or a GameStop that has money in the bank and revenue coming in over a GTII who has no revenue, whose 2 employees are not being paid, whose CEO is writing personal checks to pay the bills. That's all. That's in their documentation. Yeah, I read it all. It's in their 10Qs. Did you guys know that? The 2 employees haven't been paid for years. The CEO's funding the company out of his personal bank account every quarter. That's not a company to die on the sword fighting corruption with. Comms, no. COMS, that's not a company to go to battle with. Hasn't filed a quarterly report in a year. CEO quit. Layoffs, being blamed for why we can't file our financial reports on time. No. You got to pick who you go into battle with carefully. But those other plays, GTII, Comms, COSM, whatever comes up next week, we can make money on those in the meantime. Just, you got to realize the system you're living in and play it while you're fighting it. That's all I'll say. Please, I don't know how long this battle's going to take, but I'd like to see you making money on some other plays too. Please, for the love of God, don't listen to these channels that are telling you a 60-cent stock's going to $1,000 in a company that has no revenue. There's plenty of opportunities though to make some headway, to make your life a little better, to learn how to trade with the system that we're currently stuck with until it blows up. $17.96 says 2008 didn't fix shit. I can't argue with you, and I won't even try. But they did implement some regulations, like, some of the stuff that, I don't know if you guys know this, if you haven't been a regular listener here, but some of the regulations and stuff that Biggums has been talking about for the last 2 years were things recommended from the commission that looked into the 2008 fiasco. That is a fact. It took them, though, from 2008 to 2020 to get it in a regulation and start proposing it. That is the system we're stuck with. And then, banks got a lot more restrictions put on them, but as fast as they get a restriction on them, they hire some hotshot from Harvard with a law and finance double degree who figures out a way around it. As fast as you can write a rule or a law, somebody smart can figure out a way around it. So just recognize that. I mean, those who have the money make the rules. And if they can't make the rule, they can hire someone to figure out a way around the rule. Nana, thank you for that. Scarlett came home and went straight to sleep. Bless her heart. She's been on a Bailey's Irish Cream kick lately. If I ask her to pour me a Bailey's, I'm thinking like couple ounces. When I say Nana, she's on a kick. She poured like a 10-ounce Bailey's Irish cream. She fell asleep and she still had half an ounce in the bottom. I took it out of her hand and set it on the nightstand. If I walk in there, her hand's probably still sitting there like this. I know some of y'all are getting ideas right now. God damn you. She was tired, let's just say, though. Probably when I finish this live stream, she'll wake up. Usually when I go back in, we'll wake up and hang out for a while, but she puts in a hard day of work. Can I look at FOA? Yes, I can. Ouch. Ouch. That's not the type of chart we like to see on this channel. What were you hoping I'd see? Owning the float. What's up, amigo? SoFi. Yeah, let's talk about SoFi. I actually like SoFi, but they're stuck in this freaking student loan fiasco. I think they've been getting beaten up, haven't they? If SoFi, doesn't go bankrupt, I haven't looked at their financials. I think I did a video on them 6 months ago, maybe. I need to look at their latest financials. Assuming they're not at risk of bankruptcy, I think they could be a good future contender in the e-finance space. So damn cheap right now. I need to give it a fresh look. It was on my buy on the dip list way back up here. It might have been a year ago. Beginning of this year, I did a SoFi video. I haven't been buying it recently, but wow, that is cheap. Remind me if I don't talk about it here in the next week to do a video update on SoFi. SoFi and MMAT. What else have people been asking about? NEO, I don't want to talk about. Chinese company. Maybe, what was that other one? The one that's making the high-end couple of cars. Damn it, I can't think of it. It's getting late. Chris says someone was saying that FOA was the next big acquisition. Do I have that right? I'm just looking at that chart and I'm thinking I'm just guessing their financials must be a wreck. Finance of America deal expected to be accretive to both tangible book value and EPS. Finance. What is the deal? Finance of America to acquire the assets of reverse mortgage lender AAG. All right. I mean, I don't like spending a lot of time looking into companies that have a stock chart driving straight down like that, but I'll take a note in case I get some free time. That news came out today, it looks like. Sometimes there's diamonds in the rough. I'll take a quick look. Lucid, yes, thank you. I want to make my way through a deep dive on all the EV companies. Mullen, I got one coming out I've been working on for a long time. Tesla, same. But I really don't want to put the Mullen video out because I know it's going to make so many people angry. I don't know. What would you do? Tell the harsh truth, or wait a year till Mullen has good news and then put out the video? Mullen down from $19 to 19 cents. And I still see people in the comments, honest to God, that think Mullen is going to be the short squeeze to break the market. Those are literal words from Mullen holders. This is going to be the short squeeze that breaks the U.S. financial system. Like you do realize you've been diluted. You're about to be diluted again to 5 billion shares. You got to be patient till they get into production. They're just they're scrapping to survive right now. Bless their hearts. Mod 35. Oh, Lordy. Polestar, I did one video on when they did the ticker change. I like Polestar. It's a contender, still early, but they're in production on multiple continents. They have nice cars, and it's leagues ahead of someone like I think even Lucid. Not the same category of vehicle, right? But they're leagues ahead in terms of production, and definitely a better risk than Mullen or anybody else that has an EV company that's not in production yet. Did y'all see Canoe is another one that people have been asking me about. Did y'all see the Canoe armored light armored personnel carrier? I don't know. It was gonna have light armor in the door panels. I'm like, okay, what about the glass? What about the undercarriage for roadside bombs? How's all that weight gonna really play out in an electric vehicle? Like my brain is making these leaps. Like, how does that even make sense? A 2022 VW van looking thing running on batteries that's going to be armored up, plus have troops with gear. I don't know. Maybe I'm a cynic. Call me a cynic. I just don't. And when you're in battle, when you're shuffling troops around, where are you going to plug that bitch in? But I bet you some people read that and said, "Oh man, buy this stock now." Am I too cynical? I watched a guy pull a trailer on a electric pickup truck, and he was having to stop like every hour to recharge his battery. I don't know. As a former truck owner myself, how this whole electric pickup thing is really going to go over once people see how limiting it is to the usability. Now, if you're just a soccer mom or a dad who wants to look badass in a truck and you don't do any off-road camping or hauling, that's fine. It'll be fine. And maybe that's the bulk. I really need to look and see what is the breakdown of truck owners. I know on SUVs, off-road type SUVs, 4x4s, most people never use it. But trucks, I feel like trucks get used a lot for their intended purpose. One Marine turning the dynamo while the others cover. Did I hear DeLorean is making an EV? No. Lordy says every squeeze plate is called the MOAS. I know. It'd be funny if it wasn't true, right, Lordy? I don't know how much other plays you guys look at. I look at a bunch of them every week. And I definitely, to understand the retail sentiment in a play to decide if I want to get into it, I definitely look at the comments. And having been in AMC, I feel like I'm just reading AMC chats over and over, just change the ticker symbol. It's literally the same shit on every fucking stock. It's the MOAS. It's the market breaker. The hedgies are scared. Thanks for the buying opportunity. Buy the dips. I hope it goes lower so I can buy more at a discount. The things we say. It's funny because it's true. Who's my favorite YouTuber to watch besides Trace Trades? Oh, man. I tell you, when I had time to watch YouTube, I watched Graham Stephan. I think he, pretty common sense guy. I know he got crucified with the FTX thing. I think he has a pretty good sense of finance, though, and he lives modestly. Other than his new house in Vegas, I would be preaching that same lifestyle. Like, there's no reason to go crazy buying expensive shit just because you have money, unless you have a ridiculous, hazy IPA came up to visit. If you have a ridiculous amount of money, yes, I've bought expensive cars when I was having particularly good years. I've bought expensive boats, but everything else in my life is normal. You treat yourself and stay within your means. But if you're making 60,000 and you go buy a Mercedes, that might not be the best life choice. So Graham, I'll give him props for preaching, managing your money. Meet Kevin in the before AMC days. I liked him just for his on-screen personality. Like, can you imagine me having DD and being that entertaining? And as far as financial channels, I haven't watched them recently, but Everything Money, I think that those guys are, some of them, I forget their names. I haven't watched them in a while. Think the Way That I Do. And Warrior Trading, also watched him on occasion, but not recently. If you're looking for a guy that is high-speed day trading at probably a level most of y'all maybe aspire to get to, but he's got, a decade of experience ahead of you. He's pretty good. Yeah, Dream of Stuff. I've seen Chris's thumbnails on those guys. What I learned recently is that all of them, Graham, Andre, Meet Kevin, they all have the same agent. Did you guys know that? So when you see them like all of them pushing FTX, it's because FTX came to their agent and said, we want to pay all of you guys to push this. It was not one person from FTX contacting them all individually. I'm certain they went through their agent. So, yeah, a lot of the stuff that they end up talking about is similar because of that. But, they all live in California. That's the land of make money first and worry about ethics later. Jersey says the U.S. infrastructure just isn't set up for EVs the way the government. Oh, yeah, we talked about that. Someone in here, someone in the chat, someone that tunes in regularly is works in the infrastructure field. I forget which one of you it was, and said the same thing. Like, there's no way that our grid, both nationwide and municipalities, is set up to support EVs to the level that that governments are wanting to take us. Maggie, thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you for that. Not only that, not only is our infrastructure not set up, but they do all realize, right, that electricity in many states is already causing blackouts, rotating blackouts. California is dealing with it. We deal with it here in Texas. But let's go ahead and mandate, 80% of no gasoline cars will be allowed to be sold after 2027. We'll figure it out. On top of the infrastructure not being set, you got to generate that electricity. How are you going to do that? Oh, we'll just build more windmills. Okay. I recently learned how many gallons of oil it takes to lubricate a windmill. I wonder if that's well known. Not to mention the production of those things, trucking them halfway across the U.S. I don't know. Don't get me started. Let's just every city should have a nuclear plant. Then we'd be good. We'd have plenty of free electricity. Andrew says B. Hayes got banned. Wait, what are you talking about? I just saw a thumbnail from him. When did he get banned, Andrew? Oh, B. Hayes. I was thinking of the what's his name? I ain't having it. You can't stand the heat. Get out of the kitchen. Did he get banned? I used to occasionally find B. Hayes entertaining until he started talking about the semen retention. I just like, no, bro. Yeah, Keenan Grace. That's who I was confusing it with for a second. All right, let's do a shot. I got my shotgun shot glass. Red Pill Bill got banned too. Are you kidding me? Andrew's saying B. Hayes is still on. Ooh. Tennessee whiskey still doing the ode to the Nashville trip. You guys want to see I didn't put it up, but I have a lot of photos and videos of our Nashville trip. I didn't know if anybody cared to see it. Maybe I'll do it members only. I don't want to give too much free content to the hater channels. There's Tony Denaro and his fake wife. They're not even in Nashville. It's just a green screen. Cheers. Fuck the hedgies. Fuck the haters. Love you guys. Hang in there. The market sucks. It's going to be okay. One day. Bottoms up. Hooah! Dream of stuff. Thank you. Good night. Vinny says, what are my thoughts on the Twitter files? I heard the first night, Vinny, I was on that call for like 5-6 hours, however long it took for all that stuff to come out. The second day of the Twitter files, I have not, haven't seen it yet. Just been too busy. One day I'll get to it, but I saw enough on the first day. And I mean, it pretty much confirmed what I already thought. It's nice that it came out. Surprised nobody's really picking it up. And if they do, what do they complain about? They don't complain about what happened. They complain about, it took 5 hours for Elon's friend to get this out. What a unprofessional live stream. It's just maddening. I am not a fan of media censorship from these big multimedia conglomerates. And I also saw a news article, just read the headline that said Facebook is threatening if Congress passes an upcoming some sort of freedom of information bill that they're just going to not talk about news at all. I'm like, well, good. Don't then. Nobody's on Facebook to get news. I want to see what my friends from high school are doing, what my brother had for dinner, and what my dad's new dog is doing. You know, what's the latest tricks? I just got rid of Facebook because it got, and I really didn't enjoy being on Twitter, to be honest. But I'm enjoying it a little more now that I'm not worried about every time I tweet something, I'm going to get banned or, you know, silenced for a week. Sufyan, what's up, buddy? Sufyan says, would I make a video of the top 5 states to live in to grow financially? Oh, man. I'd have to do some research, Sufyan. I don't know off the top of my head. But yeah, I'm sure that data is readily available. But the answers may come back other countries. Costa Rica, Thailand, Philippines. But yeah, I can probably do that one day. Yeah, I don't know how many ounces this is. It says 12 gauge, but I think it's probably, it looks like about 2 ounces. Sufyan, I would say find, you know, just off the top of my head, find a state that doesn't have state income tax and then don't live in a big city. You might be okay. Like Texas in general is pretty good, but they kill us on property taxes. And then you get all the city nonsense on top of it. Nana says, I love my Bud Light, but twisted tea is great. What is twisted tea, Nana? Devstat. Steroids, nuclear radiation shot, and giant lab-grown hamsters on hamster wheels. That all you'd need is some giant hamster-sized pellet feed and would be good. Do a video on Facebook banning the news. That would be fun. What about Eastern Europe, Ellie? I've been to many places in Europe. I haven't been everywhere in Eastern Europe. I've not been to. Is Czechoslovakia still a country? I've not been to Poland. I've been to Europe. I've been to Germany. I've been to Bratislava, if you can believe that. Poland was on my wish list. Romania. Croatia is on my wish list. I don't know where it's cheap to live in Eastern Europe that is. You guys got cold up there, though. Maine, Maggie says. Yeah, Alaska's pretty good, too, I guess. If you don't like cold, maybe Maine. If you don't mind cold. When I traveled to Bratislava, I felt like I was going back into a 1950s movie. Czech Republic. Okay, thank you. You know, way back in high school, we had to memorize every freaking country and its capital. But the problem is, you know, they keep on changing things, especially in Europe. It's hard to keep up as a dumb American. Sufyan, what state do you live in again? Lordy says if the Moass won't come, he can always get back to World of Warcraft. I bet I have some characters sitting out there, Lordy, waiting for me to pick them up and level them up to level 80 or 90. What's the maximum level now? I quit when they were all at 70 because someone hacked my account and stole all my gear. After like the third time of that happening, I was like, fuck this game. Fuck all those years I wasted on it. Have I ever been to Brazil? I have, Vinny. I've been to not Rio. It was on the coast. Trying to think of the name of it. It's hell for Americans to get a visa to go to Brazil, first of all. Damn it, I'm gonna have to look at a map because I can't think. It's been a while. Like when I say a while, it's been a long while. But that was the first place that I ever went to a Fogo de Show, or Fogo de Chao, as they say in Texas. Porto Alegre is where I went. I landed in Sao Paulo, and then we took a second flight from there to Porto Alegre, and that's a long flight from Texas to Sao Paulo. And I do not speak Portuguese, but the people I was working with spoke English, but like going out in the evenings was a little intimidating. Edward says, are you going live tomorrow? I will be live. Yes, it's already scheduled and up when the market opens. I was hoping to stream the Jewel and Raya IPOs. We already just found out that Raya got pushed to the 13th. So, and I didn't pre-buy Jewel, but I already have it scheduled, so I'll do it. And maybe we'll find something else to trade tomorrow. Vinny, I think you'll have fun in Brazil. It's good food, beautiful ladies. If you're not married, very nice people, nice scenery. I hear that certain parts of Rio can be dangerous. I don't know where you're going. I didn't get to see a whole lot other than Porto Alegre. Maggie says, Maggie says New York is the same as temperature as Maine, but you get more snow up there. Plus lobsters, right, Patriot? That is what I want to go there for, the lobsters. If Scarlett would stay at a job long enough to be able to take some vacation, she keeps on changing jobs. Otherwise, I've threatened to do I want to do a 2 or 3 week road show and come out and meet some of you guys, right from straight up from Texas through, let's see, I go through Memphis and then right over to the East Coast, all the way up to Maine, through Boston and New York, Washington, D.C. Where else? What's before Boston? Baltimore. I figure I need at least a minimum of 2 weeks, possibly 3. I said, well, Scarlett, if you can't take off, I'll just do the road trip by myself. And she's like, oh, no, you won't. How can you not trust me? What's the worst trouble I'm going to get into on a 3-week road trip? Belo Horizonte and Rio. I have not heard of the first one, but Rio for the Mardi Gras celebration. That's kind of like on my bucket list that I'd like to do. One day. I'm running out of years, Vinny. Gotta keep on trying to eat healthy and get some of this traveling in. That sounds like fun. When are you going? At the end of the year. Okay. Nana says twisted tea is an alcohol beverage. Have not gotten sick from alcohol more than about 2 times in my life, Nana. And one was I remember the night, it was Halloween about 1988, drinking a couple of Texas tea, not the same as twisted tea. They sell twisted tea at Walgreens. All right, Nana, I'm going to pick one up next time. Scarlett likes tea. I'm not a big tea drinker, but I'll give it a try. Andrew just hit the exacta for $40. Booyah. Beat your stock winnings for the month. Buy some ape. Buy some ape, Andrew. I know everybody's yelling at the screen. Buy some ape. Just kidding. Don't spend it all in one place, though. The Tony Denaro Cash Me Outside. How about that? Tour official. Yeah, we'll give out t-shirts that say that at every stop, DevStat. Where are you at, DevStat? What city are you in? Who is between Texas and Maine? Let me know. I know Pam and some other folks, Javi, were saying you need to come out to Texas, but that will have to be a separate trip. And I think Florida would need to be a separate trip too. I'd need to add a week to go down to Florida. It's just so far. Thank you, Maggie. Have a good night. Andrew says he bought ape every day for around 2 months. Yeah, I was not buying it every day, Andrew, but I was buying it every 20% drop or so. So I feel you. I am right there with you guys, as frustrated as anybody else. And I know the haters are watching right now, but we told you it was going to go down. Look, nobody knows shit. It could have just as likely gone up as gone down, but clearly I think it's safe to say that it's being targeted because they don't want Adam Aaron to have the ability to raise money. But on top of that, institutions don't feel the need to hold it. And short sellers are often target stocks that have dilution notices. If you don't believe me, go check out their favorite website, dilutiontracker.com. They got a whole website set up to notify them every time someone does dilution so they can go short it. Sons of bitches. The little things you learn, you know. I know dilution's bad. I know reverse splits are bad. But to learn that they purposely immediately target companies that even announce a dilution and then they just pound it, it's frustrating. Like I knew dilution was bad and that the stock usually goes down. I was hoping that with APE and the retail supporting AMC that wouldn't be the case. But, you know, in most cases it is. On most stocks, dilution or reverse splits are bad news. But to know that they plan these things and they just target them, it's worse than you even think. They're targeting dilution announcements. It's not just like accidental, a dilution got announced, so some people got scared and they sold. No, this Dilution announcements are targeted by all manner of short sellers. Justin says billions printed, created massive inflation, billions disappeared with FTX shit. How did that not help inflation? Yeah, I saw a headline in an article, what happened to the billions, but I haven't had a chance to read it yet, Andrew. There was a table and some words. I need to go dig into it. At the end of the day, all of that is going to come out, and I only have so much time to research and read things. But I am curious, where did that money go? Is it in Sam's parents' real estate portfolio now? Does Caroline have parents? Politicians temporarily holding it for Sam? Don't worry, Sam, we got you. You're fine, buddy. Just survive the press. We'll get you on the back end, buddy. DevStat says he lives between Jerry Jones' side of town and Mark Cuban's hood. Do you know I went to high school with Jerry Jones' daughter, DevStat? Charlotte. She was, I think, 2 years ahead of me. I think she runs part of the Cowboys now. All right, I see you guys asking about Alex. Let me just text Alex right now. My brother just sent me, speaking of high school, he's at a bar with one of my classmates from high school. I moved out of town, but my brother still lives in the city where we went to school at. All right, where's Alex? Last time she texted me, she said, maybe soon. I'm just going to ask her when soon. We're going to make it happen. And Girardi says, Tony wanted to say, I've learned a lot from you. Appreciate what you do for the community. I appreciate you helping the channel just by watching. Just share it, guys. That means a lot. All of your views. If I put out a video, a 5-minute video, watching 80% of that helps the channel. And whether you know it or not, I spend the majority of my day researching and reading and doing due diligence to make this channel valuable to you in factual information. I know it's not always the information people want to hear. And yes, I like learning that stuff for myself anyways. I'd probably be doing it myself anyways. But I got so frustrated with the clickbait shit that despite me being not entertaining at all, I was like, fuck it. If Trey and Matt are never going to answer me, I'm going to just turn on a camera and say my own piece. And Girardi says, just got recently promoted to lieutenant for the Jersey City Police Department. Congrats, brother. My brother-in-law he's got a similar position in Chicago. I don't know if he's police chief or lieutenant in a Chicago suburb, not the city of Chicago. My uncle was a DPS trooper, so much respect to you. Got a lot of respect for people that serve in the police, fire, military. None of y'all, none of us, myself being former military, nobody gets paid enough for the service and the sacrifice that you guys do. Nana, I will get Scarlett to play bingo. I want to do a 3-way with Scarlett and Alex. We're going to try and make that happen. Arca says, when is our chart collab happening? What did we say we were going to chart, Arca? Sufyan says, what did you think of Breaking Bad? One of my all-time favorite shows, Sufyan. Not just from the storyline and the characters, but as a D-list actor, I'm always looking for when the director takes a new direction in camera shot angles and everything about that. I appreciate TV shows and movies maybe at some nerdy different level than most people. And everything about Breaking Bad just like clicked all the buttons. The storyline, the acting, the cinematography, the choices the director made. I've watched the whole thing through. I haven't watched all of Better Call Saul, but I'm like ready to watch Breaking Bad all the way through again. Arca, did you send me a DM on Twitter? He says, I messaged you, never got a response from you or Mass. Okay. Send me another DM on Twitter, please. I try and respond to my DMs, but some of them, if you're not following me, it puts it in a separate folder and I forget to go check those. What did you think of Breaking Bad, Sufyan? Some of my favorite series, Sopranos, Breaking Bad, Vikings. We loved the Vikings. What was the one in Peaky Blinders? Do you know I didn't watch Peaky Blinders for many years because of the name? I was thinking of that show back in the 80s or 90s with some teenage high school chick. Pinky something. Anyways, when I finally discovered what Pinky Blinders was, man, we just marathoned it. I'm ready to watch that one all the way again through. Also, Yellowstone, we absolutely love it. Yes, that is the one show every Sunday night. Make time for it. Muskie Doge, what's up, brother? Bacon says, if you like Vikings, try The Last Kingdom. I think Scarlett watched that and she got ahead of me. And, that is a major no-no. You don't get ahead of your spouse. Just because I'm working or whatever, or she had a day off, you don't break that cardinal rule. So I probably stopped watching it at a protest. Get a screenshot, you pantyless Twitter folks. Tony Denaro's pouring a drink. Scramble for your camera. Don't worry, it's available on replay. You can screenshot it later and tweet it out. Am I gaining weight? Well, I'm not losing weight. I have a knee injury, and it's preventing me from walking any significant amount of steps. Definitely preventing me from running. I can barely go upstairs. I cannot go downstairs without pain. And I sure as hell can't go deadlift or squat anything. So I'm having to try and control it a little bit just by eating right. But yeah, I'm not exercising like I should for the last, what's it been that I've been injured? 3 months now, at least. I was just telling Scarlett the other day, if this is really, it's irritating is not even the right word. It's almost like depressing not being able to exercise. I didn't live stream last night because I was laying in bed with an ice pack on my knee. Jack Daniels, my doctor did recommend have a shot, do some stretching. Whew. Oh yeah, that one went down much easier than the first one. That is the same injury from the 120-pound husky that knocked me over. Yes. Knocked me over sideways. The knocking over and falling down was not bad. It was the sideways twisting motion over a cardboard box that fucked me up. Lordy says it's eating right, not eating right. No, I mean, like, okay, so today for breakfast, I had 3 eggs from the chickens outside with a little bit of Texas salsa. And then the second meal I had was some sauteed shaved Brussels sprouts with about a 5-ounce salmon fillet. That was my 2 meals for the day. But despite that, going to see movies, eating popcorn. Scarlett doesn't eat the way I do. She's always got junk food in the house. The benefits of being young, I guess. There are temptations. There are certain temptations of food that every now and then I'll fall prey to. But yeah, I probably, to get back to my in shape weight, I probably need to lose at least 25 pounds. That can be done. I mean, I did an experiment where I only ate 1 ribeye and a serving of spinach, boiled spinach, and 2 ounces of cheese. I split that into 4 portions, and I only ate that for 10 days, and I lost 10 pounds. So, and I had it in 4 meals. They were very small meals, right? 1 ribeye, spinach, and a little bit of cheese split into 4 meals is not a lot. By the time it was mealtime every 3 to 4 hours, I was just about to go crazy, but it was just the right timing that I was able to survive. So I know the way to lose weight, and of course, exercising on top of that helps you lose it even faster. But I can't exercise right now. I could do pull-ups, maybe push-ups. I don't know. Zethwin says, "Can you swim?" My gym has a swimming pool. I need to go try that. That's a good question. I can walk without much pain, so I would imagine. I'm thinking that I might be able to swim. I need to go try that. And there's a very nice hot tub there too, and a dry and a wet sauna also. So I should probably just figure out how to get that back in the routine and go do some pull-ups or something. I love pull-ups. I'm in my 50s, and recently I was challenged myself to do 20 pull-ups, full hang, full chin above bar pull-ups. And I got to the point where I could do 18, and I haven't got over 20 yet, but still on my list. No kipping, no cheating pull-ups here. And no, if I went right now, I might be able to do 8. I'm not I'm not in that condition right now. Pools will work you out, Carl. I used to, yes, Carl, I agree. So in the summers, I used to do when I wasn't at the gym doing heavy weights. I don't do any machines. I just do barbell weights, deadlift, squat, overhead press, bench press. But on my off days, my rest days, I'd either do biking, high intensity sprints, or swimming, and I'd just rotate those. And I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt, the laps in the pool was the most exhausting of anything. You don't underestimate swimming. You will get a good full body exercise. You'll be huffing and puffing if you're not used to it. And I wasn't even trying to swim fast. I was just like, I'd do 2 or 3, 4 back and forth. Then I'd have to stop and like catch my breath. I don't know if it's because I'm not like a professional swimmer. I don't know how to breathe. I mean, I took swimming lessons when I was a kid. I know how to breathe. I don't know if it's just being in the water or is it just really that physically exhausting if you're not used to doing it every day. Gus says the easy way to lose weight is to hit the heavy bag 2 or 3 times a week. I took one summer, Gus, in my younger years, I took a combat art school. And the guy that ran the studio was he was trained in multiple martial arts. And he wasn't trying to give anybody a black belt in anything. He was trying to teach you how to survive a street fight. And a lot of the people in the class were cops. And he had us doing jujitsu. He had us doing heavy bag work. He had us doing boxing and wrestling. And by far the worst at the end of the training session is when he'd say, all right, go hit the heavy bag for 10 or 15 minutes. Like literally, you would not be able to feel your arms or your hands. You're like throwing punches and nothing behind them because you get so fucking worn out. You're right, Gus. I dreaded that shit. It's a hell of a workout. Nana, officially I forget, maybe like 54, 55, something like that. But usually we say, every time someone asks, I add a year, Nana. So I'm approaching 100 in YouTube years. But I'm in decent shape for someone in their mid 50s. You wouldn't look at me and say that guy's obese. I take no medications. All my blood work, I get checked regularly, is right on point. Blood pressure is good. That's all from eating right, which I've been doing since I was 40. Can't testify to eating right before 40. Lordy's doing Aikido twice a week. I do like martial arts, Lordy. My youngest son got his black belt in Taekwondo. And I've looked into many of them. I know just enough jujitsu moves to break somebody's nose or arm. But I don't know if I have the time to do a full martial arts black belt in anything. But I respect all of them very much. Our instructor in the combat art school, his basic theory was debilitate the person and get out of the situation. Break their nose, break their larynx, break their arm, their wrist, and get away. It was not about hurting anybody. It was like keeping yourself safe. And no matter how you get attacked, from behind, from the front, multiple people. And if they got a knife, he said, run. We did knife training, but he said, if they have a knife, you're going to get stabbed. You're going to get cut. Unless you got a gun. chances are you're going to get cut. Skill Stacking says, have you ever tried rehab on your knee? I'm doing some rehab. I had a hip, not a hip joint, but the tendon that runs from your hip down to your knee on one side that was strained a year or two ago from squatting too much and not stopping like a reasonable person would do. Just keep going. It'll be fine. No, you can't do that when you're in your 50s. You got to stop and rest. But I kept going like an idiot till I couldn't even go up a stair. And I have a rehab guy that has a mobile rehab. He comes to your house, and he fixed me up. He gave me all the exercises. Came over for a few months, once or twice a week, and so I know a lot of the rehab. I've checked some of the YouTube sites for my particular injury, which I think is the posterior. Sorry, I can never say the middle word. The PCL. Somebody help me. That's an expert. The posterior. I always want to say it's something like something ligament. I think that is what is injured. So I've been doing some rehab exercises from YouTube on that. I'm about 85% mobility without pain. When I get down to that very last point, the pain's pretty bad. It's an 8. I can't bend. We've got a fridge, and then we've got a mini fridge for all Scarlett's, Dr. Peppers, and Red Bulls. I mean, Big Reds. And my Bang Energy. I cannot bend down to that mini fridge and load it without pain. That's the situation. Lordy says, makes me giggle. Tony talking about rehab and pouring a shot. And you know, this standing desk that I got, Lordy, was because initially when that fucking dog knocked me over, just sitting in a chair would be painful. Standing up was more comfortable than sitting. I can sit in this chair now for a couple hours and be fine. There was a great video. Sorry for getting off on an exercise tangent, but some of y'all are still here. There was a great video I watched of a doctor, not the doctor that talks keto, but it was a doctor that talks about stretching. And you know about some of y'all know about the fascia, all the connective tissue that holds all your muscles and skin together. You know how it feels so good to stretch every day? And that if you don't stretch, that connective tissue almost becomes locked. So where am I going with that? For all of you that are the older folks in the audience, please, if you want to have mobility into your golden years, do something. Just get up and move. Stretch, walk, run, yoga, light exercise. You don't need to lift barbells. But America has become a country of people not moving. Lazy, watch TV, sit around, do nothing, sit at our desks all day, 12 hours, sit in a car driving or a truck. I cannot overemphasize how important movement is to your vitality, to your health, to your well-being, to your being somewhat graceful and injury-free all the way into the day we leave this planet. John's Day Trade says chiropractor helped my lower back and neck. I wonder if a chiropractor could help me with my knee. If I have reached out to my rehab guy. I think I told you all about this a month or two ago. He and I have been playing phone tag for a while. And the other thing that I tried for the very first time when he came over here a year or two ago for my hip was something called hot needling. It's a version of acupuncture. Anybody familiar with that? Speaking of standing desk, I'm going to stand up. I feel like my muscles are locking up. I think it's called hot needling. Anyways, it's basically like acupuncture, but they take these needles and they stick them in you right at the point of where your muscles and tendons connect. That shit fucking worked, man. And I'm very dubious about acupuncture and all that stuff, but he was already here and he wasn't charging me anything extra. I was like, yeah, sure, try it. Dry needling. Thank you, Gorilla. You're right. Dry needling. I can actually testify that shit worked. John says you should lead exercises for a few minutes. Yeah, that would go over well. I thought about, for a while, a couple years ago, especially when I was heavy into fitness, I thought about, some of y'all might have seen the screenshots. I thought about starting a fitness business for people my age or older. But then I realized there's just not enough people that care about their health. And that's a sad statement of America. I'm big on calisthenics. Headstock Hiram. By the way, what is that guy's name? The dude that's all tatted up, that's got the humongous calisthenics channel. The young kid, dark hair, lives in Florida. When we're talking calisthenics, if you're ex-military, you're thinking push-ups and pull-ups, but I'm talking about real calisthenics. One of y'all knows who I'm talking about. Someone Google it on YouTube. He'll be the first dude that comes up if you Google calisthenics on YouTube. Not Ken Griffin, no. All right, you gonna make me do it? Someone's saying, I don't know how to spell calisthenics, Tony. Chris Heria, Hera. Now, some people say he's an asshole. People that have met him in person. Maybe he is. I don't know. I'm not making any judgments on his personality, but that dude and the dudes that he works out with, if you want to learn just how to use your body and get in shape, watch some of Chris Haria's channel. That used to be one of my all-time favorite. I used to take my son to the gym and we'd do the Chris Haria workouts, and we'd be swearing after 10 minutes. That all of the high level shit that he does is on my bucket list. The funniest thing in the gym was like when I got pretty good at pull-ups, and then I could do a reverse pull-up where you basically kick your legs over the bar and then pull yourself up upside down. People will be like, "What the fuck? How's this old man doing that shit?" That takes a certain amount of months of conditioning your abs and your shoulders. Headstock Hiram says, "I work around the farm a lot." Yes, that'll do it. You don't even need a gym if you got a farm. Cheers to all the hardworking farmers. Any of you guys that do heavy lifting. My nephews worked one summer in high school for an ice delivery company. My nephews are twins. They said they didn't need to go to the gym after that. Can you imagine working a commercial ice delivery company as a summer job in high school? Lugging all those bags in and out of the truck. Always Learning says, when will all the videos on small business start? I think they can start anytime now. Always Learning. I was waiting for the crazy people, the cyber stalkers, to figure it all out first. I didn't want to give them a head start. But now that they've put all the info out there, we're free to talk about it. You notice how I did that? I told all of you guys about it, but that, they think they're revealing some shit. I'm just waiting for them to reveal who the crazy ones were. And now we all know. Tony owns a business. Oh my God. Dumbasses. I knew if I started talking about it too early, we wouldn't be able to figure out who the cuckoos were. Because if I revealed the information, then, we wouldn't give them a chance to reveal themselves for being dipshits. Muskie Doge farmer's grandparents' farm in Pennsylvania was taken over by fine print from the government when they passed away. Son of a bitch. I did hear something on CNBC the other day. They were pushing farmland as one of the best real estate investments you can make right now. Gorilla Gardener says this dude, Chris Haria, is sick. Look, I've watched a lot of calisthenic channels to find somebody that knows their shit. You're not going to find a better workout instructor for bodyweight calisthenics than Chris Haria. Heria. Simply amazing. And You don't even really need a gym if you've got a park or somewhere that's got a pull-up bar. You buy yourself I have a weighted vest. Buy yourself a weighted vest off of Amazon when you get ready. You're not going to need it in the beginning, but at some point you will. Find any pull-up bar close by you, whether it's at the gym or the park. And pretty much everything else you can do without a gym, and you can get ripped. You're not going to look huge. You're going to look fit. Nana says, Ms. Tahiti is going to take me on a hot balloon ride on my bucket list. I have jumped out of a plane 3 times, Nana, but I haven't been on a hot balloon ride yet. So I'm going to surprise Scarlett. Maybe that'd be a good anniversary gift. What do y'all think? Saturday morning champagne hot balloon ride over the Texas Hill Country. Justin says that I get bored and come back on. No, I had the 8:30 live scheduled to go over, and we did in the beginning of this. But, in the evenings, we just hang out and chat. You guys can ask about whatever stock stuff you want. Otherwise, we're just hanging out, talking about whatever. We already did most of the heavy lifting on stock stuff. We went through, I think, just about every ticker people wanted to talk about. And the GameStop financial statements. But we can still talk stock stuff. It just gets, I do that 12 hours a day. It's fun just to hang out and talk about other stuff too. Learn a little bit more about you guys. Gorilla Gardener says, I do calisthenics and yoga in a steam room. So before Scarlett, I dated a girl that was a certified yoga instructor, Gorilla. Turned out she was bipolar, so after a year, that didn't work out. But we went to the hot yoga stuff a couple times. Brutal. Juicy says, did you see the preview for Super Mario's? I did at one of the last movies I saw. I forget which one it was, but I saw the Super Mario, and me even being a grown-ass man, having no young kids anymore, I said I would go see that movie. It looked good enough. I mean, the preview is well done. I played Super Mario as a kid. My kids played Super Mario. Not as a kid, sorry, but I played Super Mario with my kids. I played Donkey Kong in high school. But I would go see that movie. Lordy's asking, calls or puts today? What are we talking about, Lordy? Indexes or stocks? I don't know, man. I hate to be that channel that becomes like everyone else calling SPY puts and calls. I don't know what those of you that are on those channels, I just feel like, in my experience, it's basically just flip a coin. In a market like this, where one day the news is good, the next day people have gone bipolar and changed to the other direction. I will buy index or particular stock calls and puts if I have a fairly good feeling of what the long-term direction is going to be, but I don't like trying to do that on the daily. Justin says, did you see the menu yet? Hopefully that answers the question, Justin. The Menu is a fantastic movie. Go see The Menu if it's still available in your area. And I implore you, go see Devotion. I don't think you'll regret seeing either one. The Menu is kind of a little bit more artsy movie, but it's engaging. It's gonna keep you on your toes. You're gonna enjoy it. Devotion is a almost 2.5 hour long story of two true American heroes in the Korean conflict. It's not as fast paced. I thought it was going to be like a Top Gun remake in the Korean War. So much more than that. Brocape says, I know I'm in bad shape if Tony can do more pull-ups than me. When I train, all right, I'm not in this shape right now, but when I was training my pull-ups, I was doing it with a weighted belt with 90 pounds on it. That was my training for doing 20 body weight pull-ups. And when I say pull-up, I'm not talking about the kipping. What's the what are those studios called that do all the really fast exercise? I mean, that nothing against them, but I do full hang, full chin above bar pull-ups. Nana says, I'm getting drunk on twisted tea. Nana, I'm going to go buy some tomorrow. CrossFit, thank you. I always wanted to try CrossFit. It looks like a hell of a workout, but I don't know if I could get into kipping pull-ups. I'm a stickler for strict exercise. But the chicks look hot. I can't mess with that anymore, you know? Always. Someone's asking, Jesse, how's my knee? 85% mobility. Once I cross that threshold, it's pretty bad. And I said earlier, I laid up in bed icing my knee last night because I was doing a bit of stretching and pushing it, and it was pretty sore. Eric says 90 plus pull-ups for me, no problem. 90 pull-ups body weight or 90 pounds weighted? I have respect for anybody that can do at any age. If you can do 10 strict pull-ups, I'd say you're in good physical shape. If you can do more than 10, you're in the top 5%. If you can do any pull-ups weighted, you're in the upper echelon. And by pull-ups, all right, we got pull-ups, we got chin-ups, bicep, back. And for any of you that think you can't do a pull-up, Chris Heria YouTube channel, Heria, will show you how to start your progressions into doing one pull-up. You can start at a slant. You can start with cables. I spent a lot of time training Scarlett to do one pull-up. She couldn't do one pull-up when I met her. That's the female physiology, though, right? Women aren't designed, nor do they spend their day working their upper body. DevStat says, do I remember the P90 video? Yes, I have it. I have two of them. I gave one to my oldest son, and I think I still have one. And I used to do them religiously, and that was a hell of a good workout. Yep. Tony something, right? Wasn't his name Tony also? Scarlett, Nana, she's been buying these, back in the day, we used to call them, they were the clear alcoholic beverages. back in my day, I was telling her back in the day, you couldn't have a pool party if you didn't have Bartles and James. She's like, what is that? I was like, well, nowadays that's what y'all call, what is the drink that the girls drink now? Tony Horton. Yeah. What is that fucking clear fruit flavored beverage that all the girls drink? Sorry guys, if you drink it too. I'm not trying to hate, but White Claw. Yeah. Scarlett likes White Claw. I was like, back in my day, we would always have Bartles and James. Then it went through a different name. Now it's called White Claw. It's always been the same shit. She's like, why? Wait, you used to have Bartles and James just to get girls? I was like, hell yes. Not girls don't like beer. Not all of them anyways. Got to have some White Claw if you're single, or some Bartles and James back in the day. Zima, yeah. I showed her a picture of Zima. I said at first it was Bartles and James, then it transitioned to Zima. I don't know what else it went through. Now we have White Claw. It's like the same thing. They just relabel it. She's like, so you used to buy alcohol just to have it for the girls? Come on, man. Are you serious with that question? Of course we did. Booze and weed. I never really got into weed until I got to Texas. And I can't really say that I'm still into it, but I finally tried it. I dated a girl for a few years that probably smoked every day. Finally broke down and tried it. What do you want, cat? Come here. Come here. Come here. I think the cats want to go outside hunting. They're all stalking me. I got another possum that's been raiding the chicken food if I leave it out. Zuma pants? I don't know what those are. Headstock. Although I did tell Scarlett about Rockies. Which one of y'all ladies used to rock the Rockies? Or which one of y'all men used to chase the ladies that rocked the Rockies? CBD ointment may help my knee. That is a good idea, Gorilla Gardener. Come here, Loki. Come here. My cat's named after somebody from the Vikings show. Come here. You want a treat? Here. He's being feisty. Jesse says, loved watching the last few days. Every AMC influencer got their panties in a bunch. What did they get in a bunch about, James? I don't really watch other channels, so I don't know. What are they saying? Eric, I can't argue. I said the other day, I don't like shopping, but Scarlett's like, she has one store here in the, excuse me, hiccups. She's got one store here in the Domain that just sells yoga shit. And we'll go to brunch over there. And she's like, do you want to go over to that store and go shopping? I was like, hell yeah. Are you going to try some shit on? Here's Loki. Say hi. Do you want to talk? That's about the only shopping that I enjoy. So, Jesse, what have people been freaking out about on YouTube? And who are we talking about? Muskie Doge says something about Tony's went to a Tony Robbins. I do like Tony Robbins. I have from back in the day, Muskie. I've got a CD. Is it CD or DVDs? I forget at this point. I've got a set of something from Tony Robbins. He is a good speaker, I think, and he's got a good message. Jesse says, Matt versus Boss. I did listen to that. Dave getting mad. I don't know who Dave is. Terra Drama. I saw some on Twitter, the Terra Drama, where she switched to Tesla. People were getting mad at her. The Giant Within. Yes. I think, I don't think you can go wrong listening to Tony Robbins, honestly. Now, that other dude, the new one that came on the scene, the what's his name? He's like Hawaiian, Japanese. My other dad, my rich dad, poor dad dude. That dude I do not trust. Tony Robbins always seems to have been legit. And I love him in that movie that he did. God damn it. I can't think of the name of it. Where one of the co-stars meets him in the elevator. No, the star meets him in the elevator. He's like, wow, look at those hands. I bet you do good with the chicks. He's like, yeah, I've got a girlfriend. She sounds hot. Oh, Lord. Shallow Hal. Yeah. I've got a girlfriend. She sounds hot. Oh, that gets me every time. Awaken the Giant Within. What happened? What's up with the Massalorian? Lodi says. Lordy, I've been calling him and texting him every day to see if he wants to come on. And I don't know if he's working. He'll like text me a couple hours later. Yeah, I'll try and come on. And then I don't know if he falls asleep, if he's got a hot date. Sorry, ladies. Shallow Hal. We'll get Massalorian on. I talked to Pantheon for a little bit today on chat. But yeah, Massalorian's still around. I'm thinking always he's either working, trying to make some money because the stock market sucks, or he's working on some videos for you guys. That guy puts, I can tell you from looking at his videos, like the amount of things that he adds into his videos, all the cuts and pictures. You watch my videos, it's just me talking. Sometimes I put up screenshots of documents for you. Like my average 6-minute video might take me 3 hours to do if I'm adding screenshots and looking up all the stuff to back up what I'm saying. But he does so much more than I do that I bet it takes him 6 to 8 hours to do a 7-minute video. Jesse says, did you see that that CEO calling our predatory short selling? Were we talking about the one from CRTD? Created? If that's the one you're talking about, I saw it on the Marines channel. You guys know the Marine, hopefully. Good guy. Good, passionate AMC holder. I wish he wouldn't throw all YouTubers under the bus like he does. Some of us are good guys. He always says all YouTubers are grifters. Okay, but you realize you're saying that on YouTube, right, bro? I watched the 10 or 15 minute clip from the Created CEO on his channel, and I found it to be a very inspiring speech. I wish more people would speak up like that. I wish more CEOs would take action like that. Absolutely. And then despite that, Created was down 18% today. What can you do? What can you do, guys? It was down 19.9% today, Created. CRTD. Just like ridiculous. Nana says she's getting drunk. Nana, I've had 3 shots of Jack Daniels and I don't even feel tipsy. Just a little bit. And you're getting drunk on twisted tea? I've talked to the Marine on occasion. I appreciate his service. I appreciate his passion. I support his effort to do a protest. I've talked to the Massalorian about doing protests many times, but I want to see somebody. If you're going to do a protest, you got to tell me, all right, we need to think about this strategically, like Black Lives Matter strategically. You need to have some signs, and you need to have 2 slogans, and you need to have no more than 3 bullet points, and everybody better know those bullet points. You can't just show up randomly at 10 different locations around the country with no organized plan. And until I see an organized plan, I can't get behind it. You got to have something that hits home, something that is easily repeatable on social media and the news. You got to have a couple talking points, not 10 talking points, not something that nobody cares about, something that is visceral, something that hits home, something that anybody that's not paying attention can understand in 5 words. And I'm not seeing that yet. Otherwise, you're just going to be 2 guys standing in front of the SEC in New York and then deciding to go get pancakes. Yeah, clearly BLM disgraced the movement by misappropriating funds, but they had organizationally, they had very good strategy people, right? Nobody could argue that. These things always turn into a shit show. People's greed and vices always end up revealing themselves, especially when millions and millions of dollars is flown in. But they had the original strategy down right. Bullet point number 1, egg Kenny's house. After the next squeeze, I hope to buy, whether it's me buying it myself or we all get together and we buy a Jersey Shore type flop house. Want to buy the property right across the street from Kenny and just fuck up his life. Put some AMC and put some ape statues in the front yard that he has to drive by every day. I think we should do it as a commune where anybody can just drop in. We have some wild parties. Walt says we need to talk to the people with Occupy Wall Street. Occupy Wall Street They had the right idea, but they didn't have the right execution. I mean, if people are standing up on the balcony laughing at you and drinking champagne, they got national press for a few weeks, and then they never got really accepted by the media. Now, maybe that's because the media is complicit with Wall Street and Washington, D.C., right? Maybe the media was never going to be on their side. Maybe they had to cover it because it was so omnipresent. They couldn't avoid covering it, but something was missing in that message. And that still resonates with me. Like, what did they do wrong, and how do we avoid that? There was another guy. Wasn't it the dude from one of those Michael Burry movies, where the real life dude, not Michael Burry, but the one that Steve Carell played, he was protesting in front of Wall Street every day for like years, and nobody paid him any attention. Like, I think about all of that stuff. Like, I want my contribution to be actually valuable. If I'm going to spend the money to travel in front of the SEC, it's got to be planned. It's got to be impactful. Lordy's talking about no payment for order flow. What was the country that I just saw a headline come across that another country banned payment for order flow?